Every single day, I'm either tempting fate or on my way to do it. I was helping Professor Lee sort out lab chemicals and accidentally cooked up a toxic gas, sent the entire class straight to the hospital. New rule: students are banned from mixing chemicals without authorization. Then I tried to help unclog the dorm drains. One mistake and half the building collapsed. New rule: students are banned from using chemical agents to clear dormitory drains. I finally managed to sneak over the wall to skip class and walk straight into a crime scene. New rule: students are banned from scaling walls or entering restricted areas off campus. All because I woke up transmigrated into the body of the only student in the Paleontology department. I got cast in a campus livestream show called Campus Watch and accidentally triggered a special ability, the campus rule system. Every time my actions cause a school to add a new rule, I get a draw chance. From that moment on, the ridiculous rulebook at Westshore University exploded from 20 rules to 2,000. The entire campus begged me to stop. Nobody could make me. Free draw chances? Yeah, I'm not giving that up. One day, following Professor Lee's instructions, I head out to the undeveloped zone on campus to collect soil samples in preparation for next week's sedimentary environment analysis class. I'm humming a tune and digging away. One boom and I'm gone. The whole place goes up in flames and the school flies straight to heaven. And right then, a heavy clang rings out from below, sending a sharp jolt straight through my palms. Marcus leans in with his camera. Dude, what did you just hit? I shake my head and carefully use my shovel to brush aside the loose dirt and debris around it. A curved, heavily corroded piece of metal slowly comes into view. I crouch down and take a close look. That shape, it looks exactly like the anti-personnel landmines I've seen in war movies. And this school was built on top of an old abandoned burial ground. Could there actually be war-era remnants buried here? My stomach drops. No way I'm this unlucky. Did I actually just dig up a landmine? Then I think about that song I was just humming, about blowing things up, and a cold chill crawls slowly up my spine. Marcus stumbles back several steps. Oh hell, man, don't mess with me like this. I haven't even had my first girlfriend yet. At this moment, over 1,000 viewers in the live stream are absolutely losing it. Viewer count +1 notifications keep rolling across the screen. Is this your Teacher's Day gift for the dean? Relax, that's an anti-tank mine. A little bump like that won't set it off. I used to play with a grenade as a hammer when I was a kid. When I found out what it actually was, my soul nearly left my body. That's nothing. Back in my village, Old Man Wang buried 3 tons of artillery shells right outside his front door. They call that road the Miracle Highway now. I ignore Marcus and jump straight into the pit, using a small brush to clear away the surrounding dirt. Soon, a knob-like metal shape emerges from the soil. I don't waste a second. I call Professor Lee. Professor Lee, I think I might have dug up a landmine. It's in the wasteland to the right of campus. There's a raised trigger mechanism on top. His voice goes tight immediately. Do not touch it again. I'm on my way. He hangs up before I can say another word. Less than 15 minutes later, Professor Lee comes running. He doesn't even bother wiping the sweat off his face. He crouches down and examines it carefully. After a long moment, he starts scraping away the dirt with a small trowel. Marcus and I back away, bracing for the worst. But the explosion never comes. After just a few careful scoops, he lifts the whole thing out with ease. Nothing to worry about. It's just a pressure cooker lid. I take it, give it a look, and toss it aside. Who dumps a pot lid out here? Professor Lee just laughs and shakes his head. Better safe than sorry. Go ahead and keep sampling. Stay safe. And just like that, he's gone. The livestream viewers are absolutely dead from laughing. Viewership spikes again. Bro should go work at a cooking school. They're literally delivering pot lids to your door. I really thought that song was about to come true. Like school actually goes boom. And it's just a lid. Marcus can't hold it anymore and bursts out laughing. I shoot him a look. What's so funny? Get in here and dig. He pulls a face. I'm the cameraman. This is your assignment, not mine. I jump back into the pit. Stop talking. Go dig over there, or you're finding your own dinner tonight. That shuts him up. He picks up a shovel with a miserable look on his face. Campus Watch is a show organized by the education department. 20 students were selected to be followed and live streamed around the clock. At the end of 2 months, the student with the highest viewership wins a major education grant. Each cameraman carries a hidden camera, and for the entire duration, Marcus has to eat, sleep, and live wherever I do. So if I don't feed him, he goes hungry. Simple as that. And that's exactly why he reluctantly grabs a shovel and starts digging beside me. I stare down at my hole. I refuse to believe my luck is this bad. Today, I'm finding something real. I keep swinging the shovel, but not even 5 minutes in, a heavier, more solid clang rings out from below. I start clearing the dirt with extreme care. Marcus hears it and rushes over. Man, please tell me that's not another pot lid. By now, my hands are already trembling. The shape, the structure. This matches exactly what I've seen in military magazines. An aerial bomb. Marcus freezes up completely. Holy, that's an actual bomb? I can't even answer. I just stare at it. I call Professor Lee again. I think I actually found a real bomb this time. There's a clear pause on the other end. Didn't we just handle that? It was a pressure cooker lid. I almost want to cry. I found another one. This one has a body and tail fins. A long, exhausted sigh comes through the phone. Stay right there. I'm coming. This time Professor Lee arrives even faster. He leans in for a look, and his expression freezes completely. He pulls out his phone and makes a call. Dean Carter, we have a situation. Our student Liam from the Paleontology department has dug up something that looks like an aerial bomb. On the other end, Dean Carter's voice cracks instantly. What? An actual aerial bomb? Nobody moves. I'm on my way. The call barely ends before Dean Carter comes rushing over, the vice dean and campus security close behind him. The moment he sees what's in the pit, beads of sweat break out across his forehead. He calls the police immediately, then turns and shouts to his assistant, "Get all of campus security out here right now. No one comes near this area, and tell every department to keep students away from the wasteland. Now." Within minutes, campus security comes sprinting over and starts setting up a perimeter. On the other side of campus, students begin evacuating. The livestream viewers catch all of this happening in real time, and viewership explodes again, breaking 10,000 in an instant and still climbing at a jaw-dropping pace. I knew that song about blowing up the school was cursed. Called it. Liam digs up something like this. Does the school give him a demerit or a medal? Right at that moment, several police cars come screaming onto the scene. The doors barely stop moving before Viper Squad's Captain Zhang steps forward. Who's in charge here? What's the situation? Dean Carter steps forward quickly. I'm the dean of this university. One of our students may have uncovered an aerial bomb. Please, take a look. Captain Zhang doesn't hesitate. He walks straight toward the pit while waving everyone back to maintain a safe distance. We scramble back another 10 meters without being told twice. He picks up a radiation detector and circles the metal object slowly, scanning every angle. No anomalies detected. Then he activates the X-ray backscatter imaging system. The operator behind him begins his report. Interior is hollow. No explosive materials detected. Structural profile is consistent with a high-pressure container. Captain Zhang signals the team to run a chemical sniff analysis. Several officers collect rust particles and air samples and begin the analysis. 1 minute later, the officer reports, no TNT or explosive compounds detected. Primary components are iron oxide and sulfide compounds, corrosion byproducts from long-term burial. Captain Zhang nods, grabs a shovel, and starts digging himself. Within moments, he pulls out a heavily rusted gas canister. Dean Carter, it's confirmed safe. If there's nothing else, we'll head out. Dean Carter rushes forward and shakes his hand. Thank you so much, officers, truly. After a brief exchange, the police cars file out of campus one by one. Dean Carter signals security to take down the perimeter, then walks over to me. So you must be Liam. Sharp kid. Nothing to worry about now. Get back to your work. Can't let your studies fall behind. Our paleontology program is counting on you to carry it forward. I break into a grin. Thank you, Dean Carter. He gives a nod and leaves with his group. Professor Lee pauses before heading out and gives me a look. I genuinely thought you were trying to blow up the school. All right, keep at it. Call me if anything comes up. And with that, he's gone too. I watch them walk away. Then I turn back to the pit. No way I'm backing down now. A plot of land this big and I can't find one real thing. Today, me and this hole are going to war. I rub my hands together and raise the shovel again. But barely 3 minutes in, that same familiar metallic clang rings out. I frown, irritated. Are you serious right now? What is it this time? A wok? An enamel basin? Who buries their entire ancestral kitchen out here? After 2 false alarms, I swing the shovel hard into the surrounding dirt, clipping the metal object several times in the process. Each dull thud echoes sharply across the open ground. And then, a cold, mechanical voice suddenly sounds inside my head. Player's continuous death-defying behavior detected. Activation conditions met. System binding in progress. Immediately after, a glowing blue virtual panel appears right in front of my eyes. My whole body locks up. The shovel is mere inches from the metal object. I stare at the panel, and my blood runs cold. What the? A 500-kilogram aerial bomb, containing 300 kilograms of TNT. I think about what I just did, slamming the shovel into it, again and again, and every hair on my body stands on end. The next second, I snap back to reality. I grab Marcus, who is still standing there in a daze, and we run. We don't stop until we're several hundred meters away. He's completely out of breath, gasping. Dude, what just happened? I look at him with a grim smile. If I told you I actually found a real aerial bomb this time, would you believe me? He shakes his head immediately. The livestream viewership keeps surging. The chat is flooded with jokes. Here we go again. That expression looks real, but what does a college student know about aerial bombs? He probably just scared himself. Prize question, gas canister or oxygen tank this time? Looking at Marcus's face, I'm sweating through my shirt. I call Professor Lee again. His voice is tired and flat. Liam, what now? Don't tell me you found another bomb. My voice is shaking. Professor Lee, this time it's real. A 500-kilogram aerial bomb. There's a pause. I'm on my way. He hangs up, and barely a moment passes before he comes rushing over. He takes one look from a distance, and his face visibly drains of color. He immediately tries to reach Dean Carter, but no one picks up. His face goes pale. He dials emergency services directly. Not long after, police cars pull up to the edge of the wasteland again. Captain Zhang has barely stepped out of the vehicle when Professor Lee hurries over to meet him. Officers, I'm so sorry to call you back. What we found this time may genuinely be an aerial bomb. Captain Zhang gives a firm nod and walks straight to the pit, leaning over the edge to observe for a few seconds. Then he snaps upright and waves his arm hard. Everyone fall back 100 meters, establish a level 2 security perimeter. We scramble back without hesitation. Meanwhile, his team moves at full speed, setting up detection equipment at a safe distance and maneuvering a remote-controlled robot toward the pit. Within moments, the instruments erupt in rapid, urgent alarms. A squad member calls out the readings. Radiation levels, abnormal. Internal structure, complex. Central axis and compartments detected. Traces of TNT and RDX confirmed. There is definitely live explosive inside. The moment those words land, Captain Zhang shoots to his feet and roars with everything he has. Everyone fall back. 500 meters. Now. He yanks out his radio, switches to the emergency channel, and fires off an urgent report to command. This is Westshore University. Undeveloped zone. Confirmed. Large unexploded aerial bomb discovered. Estimated weight 500 kilograms. Contains TNT and RDX. Radiation readings abnormal. Fuse condition unstable. Requesting highest level emergency response. Seal off a 3-kilometer radius. Evacuate all personnel immediately. The second he's done, he spins toward Professor Lee and shouts, "Get every student out of that campus. Right now." The livestream viewers are completely stunned. Is this actually a 500-kilogram aerial bomb? That thing could flatten the whole university district. Did Liam's mouth get blessed by some higher power or what? At this rate, the school's gonna see a lot more open sky real soon. God bless the internet. We're literally watching a live bomb discovery. Meanwhile, back on the ground, Professor Lee calls Dean Carter over and over, but no one picks up. He's stomping with frustration. He pulls up the faculty group chat, holds down the voice message button. All faculty, listen up. A high-danger explosive has been found in the undeveloped zone. Get every student near you moving. Evacuate quickly and calmly to Jade Lake Park, 3 kilometers out. Within seconds of that message going out, students start pouring out of the academic buildings. Then the library, the dorms, the cafeteria, students flood out from everywhere. Guided by their teachers, they surge toward the campus exits. Not long after, an air raid siren explodes from the top of the broadcast tower. At the same time, just nearby, Viper Squad radios crackle with a flood of incoming reports. CBRN Unit Advance Team is on site. City Emergency Command Vehicle is in position. 3-kilometer perimeter. Initial lockdown complete. Teams deployed to evacuate nearby residential areas. By now, the wasteland is completely ringed by police vehicles. Right then, Commissioner Chen from the city police arrives on scene. He strides up to the command vehicle and demands a briefing. Captain Zhang steps forward immediately. Preliminary assessment. World War II aerial bomb left behind. The casing is heavily corroded. Fuse condition unknown. On-site disarming carries extreme risk. If we can transport it to a safe zone for controlled detonation, that would be the safer option. Commissioner Chen frowns and thinks it over. But the moment I hear that, I shout out, "You cannot move that bomb!" Commissioner Chen turns to me with a frown. Who is this kid? Captain Zhang steps in quickly. That's Liam, the student who dug it up. Commissioner Chen snaps, "This is ridiculous. What is the student still doing here? Get him out of here." Captain Zhang, worried I might be in shock, hurries over to me. "Liam, don't worry. Our professionals will handle this." I shake my head, dead serious. "You don't recognize this bomb. This is a German SC-500, a special modified variant. It was designed specifically to destroy reinforced fortifications. After 70-plus years underground, the metal fatigue and corrosion have made the fuse dangerously sensitive and fragile. The moment you move it, the fuse could trigger and detonate on the spot. If it goes off mid-transport, you get maximum blast force. The damage would be beyond calculation. When I finish, every single person on that site goes rigid. Professor Lee leans in. "Liam, I had no idea you knew any of this. How come you didn't recognize anything the first 2 times? I scratched the back of my head. I read about this exact bomb model once, full technical breakdown in a military reference book. Before the words are even out, Captain Zhang spins around and dashes into the emergency comms vehicle. 10 minutes later, he hands Commissioner Chen a printout. Everything Liam said matches perfectly. I step forward. The only option right now is controlled detonation, right here. Dean Carter hears that, and his knees nearly give out. He almost hits the ground. Commissioner Chen frowns at Captain Zhang. How confident are you in an on-site detonation? Captain Zhang grits his teeth. The largest I've handled was 100 kilograms. For 500, there are barely any experts in the country. I could try to disarm it, but I cut him off immediately. No, you'll get yourself killed. Commissioner Chen looks at me. Liam, if you've got an idea, say it. I take a slow, deep breath. My recommendation is controlled on-site detonation. With preparation, we minimize the damage. I have a plan. The core idea is controlled energy release combined with full perimeter protection. I walk over to the command vehicle, grab a tactical tablet, and sketch out a 3-dimensional diagram. Fast. Layer 1, the core blast zone. Dig a trench around the bomb pit, 8 meters deep, with 60-degree angled inner walls. A blast-cut trench. Lower the aerial bomb to the bottom. Pack in 1 meter of flexible energy-absorbing sandbags in layers, then 5 meters of wet sand on top. Cap it all with heavy steel mesh panels to direct the shockwave straight up. Layer 2, seismic isolation. Dig a ring trench, 8 meters deep and 3 meters wide, down to bedrock. That cuts off the seismic wave before it spreads outward, minimizes structural damage to the academic buildings. Layer 3, shockwave and fragmentation control. Stack 200 tons of sandbags and water barriers around the outer trench. That absorbs the shockwave and traps any radioactive dust. And when you place the emulsion explosive charges, make absolutely sure the primary blast force is directed upward, toward the sky. Silence. The entire site goes completely still. Every single person is staring at me like I just walked out of a science fiction film. Captain Zhang slaps his thigh, bursting with excitement. This kid is a genius. This plan is solid. It works. It perfectly integrates blast mechanics, structural engineering, and seismic control defense systems. The thinking here is on a military-grade level. Commissioner Chen doesn't hesitate. He makes the call. We go with this plan. Mobilize every engineering resource we have. Get that protection system built as fast as humanly possible. Within no time after the order goes out, Westshore University looks like a full-scale construction site. 3 hours later, Captain Zhang walks over and reports, "All systems ready." Commissioner Chen immediately orders the evacuation. I fall in with the main group and pull back to Jade Lake Park, 3 kilometers out. Commissioner Chen slowly triggers the alert siren. The piercing wail cuts across the entire park. Then, a massive blast tears through the air from the direction of Westshore University. A giant mushroom cloud punches into the sky. The explosion is over in an instant. Lucky for us, we're far enough back. Only small chunks of dirt and rock rain down on us. No one is hurt. After the initial chaos settles, every face around me wears the same look. Pure, exhausted relief. Then a voice comes from inside the command vehicle. Shockwave peak within projected range. Structural vibration in academic buildings. Below safety threshold. Radiation spike briefly, now dropping back to normal. Commissioner Chen picks up his radio, calm as ever. Fire suppression teams, move in. On his word, a fleet of fire trucks rolls toward the blast site to cool it down and clear the dust. CBRN unit personnel enter the core zone and begin full spectrum scanning. 1 hour later, the threat is completely neutralized. Once the follow-up cleanup work is underway, Commissioner Chen and Captain Zhang come find me. Liam, we owe this one to you. We'll be putting your name forward for the Special Civic Courage Award and the cash prize. Consider it our way of saying thank you. My eyes scrunch up in a huge grin. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Chen gives my shoulder a firm pat. You're something else, kid. When you graduate, if you're ever interested in joining the force, the door is open. Professor Lee's eyebrows shoot up immediately. Commissioner Chen, he is the only student in our entire department. Don't you dare poach him. I scratch my head. Sorry, Commissioner, I actually really love my field. Commissioner Chen chuckles. Fair enough, I won't push. After a round of goodbyes, he leads his team out. Professor Lee looks at me then, his eyes full of quiet pride. Not bad, kid. Tomorrow I'm putting in for your scholarship. This semester. I give him a look. I'm the only one in the department. Who else would you give it to? Professor Lee laughs awkwardly. Your coursework still isn't finished. You do want to pass, right? I let out a dry laugh. If I fail, our department has a 100% failure rate. Think about that. Marcus just stands there, speechless. The live stream chat absolutely explodes. Pay 1 tuition. Get a full team of professors teaching you one-on-one. Best deal in higher education. Niche major, winner takes all. Anybody else scores 59. It's the end of the world. Liam scores 59, and it's the teacher's world that ends. Professor Lee lets out a long, helpless sigh. You win. We can't do field sampling for a while anyway. I'm switching your assignment. Come by my office and pick out some rock samples. I want you to identify what types of fossils are inside each one. I nod. He turns and walks away. I head back to the dorm with Marcus. My other 3 roommates are transfer students from other departments. The second they see me, they swarm in. Liam, did you hear? The school just got blown up. That explosion just now, absolutely insane. I'm still figuring out how to explain it when there's a knock at the door. Dean Carter is standing there with the dorm supervisor. All 3 roommates spring to their feet. Dean Carter waves them off. Relax, everyone. Then he turns to me with a smile. Liam, I'm here to thank you personally. If you hadn't dug that bomb up and put forward that detonation plan, this school might have faced a catastrophe. On behalf of Westshore University, I am officially announcing a 50,000 yuan cash award, a school-wide commendation, and a special individual citation entered permanently into your academic record. As for the undeveloped zone, please stay out of there. We're bringing in specialists for a full sweep. I grin. Don't worry, Dean Carter. Professor Lee already gave me a new assignment. Satisfied, he nods and leaves. Back in bed that night, I pull up the system interface and take a proper look at the campus rules system. Each time the player triggers a new campus rule, 1 draw chance is awarded. I stare at that for a moment. It's not like I own this school. I can't just will new rules into existence. But then again, it did warn me about the bomb. Maybe having it around isn't so bad. Next morning, I head to the cafeteria with my roommates for breakfast. We're barely at the entrance when we see a crowd gathered around the notice board. 2 brand new campus rules, freshly posted. Students are prohibited from digging pits on campus without authorization. Students are prohibited from singing modified versions of the school anthem on campus. Right then, the system chimes in my head. Player has triggered 2 new campus rules. 2 draw chances awarded. Marcus and my 3 roommates are all biting back grins. I shrug helplessly. Come on, let's just go eat. The live stream viewers lose it completely. The chat floods with stories. Our school has a rule. Parents attending meetings must be at least 50 years old. Because one girl brought her 27-year-old brother as her guardian, and he ended up running off with the homeroom teacher, who happened to be the principal's daughter. Our school says no outside food, no trash in the trash cans, and no paper in the bathrooms. Every single ridiculous rule has a story behind it. Every single one. Like at our school, dating is allowed, but your partner has to be human. After breakfast, I head straight to Professor Lee's office. I knock. No answer. I just walk in. Empty. Marcus whispers, maybe we should wait. I roll my eyes. Wait. For what? I start rifling through the office, but no matter where I look, there are no rock samples anywhere. Just as I'm about to call Professor Lee, my eyes land on a temperature-controlled cabinet nearby. Inside are several dark, chunky objects, with a warning label slapped on the front. Danger. Do not touch. I break into a grin. Finally. Found them. Why hide them all the way in there? I open the cabinet. Inside sit 3 strangely shaped rocks, each resting on foam padding. I give one a tap. Yep, these must be the ones, but they're massive. How am I supposed to study what's inside? To see the fossils, I'm going to have to break them open. I think for a second, then wave Marcus over. We haul the rocks to a corner of the basketball court. Then I head back to yesterday's bomb site and borrow a sledgehammer. I grip the handle, wind up, and swing hard at the rock. 2 swings. The rock doesn't even flinch. I take a slow breath, haul the sledgehammer all the way over my head, and bring it down with everything I've got. The rock explodes. It blows apart into a dozen razor-sharp fragments that blast outward in every direction. The sledgehammer clangs out of my hands and hits the ground. What the? This thing is supposed to be a fossil? Right then, Marcus points at the ground and shouts, "The ground! It's cracking!" My eyes go wide. No way! That thing just hit like a grenade. Marcus swallows hard. Dude, does Professor Lee actually hate you? I shoot him a look. What are you even talking about? I set up the last remaining rock and bring the hammer down with controlled force. Another explosion of sound. This time it blasts a half-meter wide hole clean through the ground. A cold, damp air rises up from somewhere far below. The livestream viewers are completely stunned. Viewership explodes again. Yesterday he's dealing with a live aerial bomb. Today his rocks are literally detonating. This guy is out here speed running death. I had a classmate just like him once. Went out peacefully in the end. Real calm. First time I've ever seen someone hammer detonate a rock. Are these like giant snap pop fireworks or something? I swallow hard. My mind is completely blank. What kind of fossil explodes like a shaped charge? And that hole, there's no bottom in sight. The award money I just got is probably not going to cover this. I call Professor Lee immediately. He picks up and I can hear the calm sound of him sipping tea. Oh, Liam. I left the fossil samples in your dorm room. Go check them out when you get back. I freeze. Wait, the fossils aren't the ones in the temperature cabinet in your office? Professor Lee's tone shifts instantly. Tell me you didn't open that cabinet. I let out a pained laugh and say, yeah. He sucks in a sharp breath. What did you do? I nearly cry. Why didn't you tell me not to touch it? I thought they were the samples. I took them out. Professor Lee's voice shoots up an octave. Don't you dare tell me you set them off. I quietly say, yeah. His voice is shaking now. Are you okay? Those are high-pressure sealed rocks. Even the slightest impact and they detonate instantly. I keep them in the temperature cabinet to control conditions and prevent any triggering. Are you trying to get yourself killed? I pout. I'm fine, I just hit them a few times with a sledgehammer. Professor Lee goes dead silent. In all my years, no one has ever gone through my office like that. No one except you. Karma's real, isn't it? I shrug helplessly. Whether it's karma or not, I can't say. But there's now a giant hole in the sports court. When Dean Carter asks what happened, I'm telling him you sent me here to run experiments. Professor Lee is completely thrown. Are you serious right now? Those rocks shouldn't have had anywhere near that kind of force. I roll my eyes. Don't believe me? Come see for yourself. His voice goes urgent. I'm on my way. Stay right there. He hangs up before I can say another word. Less than 10 minutes later, he comes sprinting over, gasping for breath. He flips on his phone flashlight and shines it down into the hole. This can't be right. Those rocks shouldn't have produced this kind of force. The words are barely out of his mouth when a faint cracking sound reaches our ears. All three of us look down at the same time. A hairline crack runs along the edge of the hole, and in an instant, it's as wide as a finger. Professor Lee snaps upright. Move. Everyone get back, now. We've barely stepped away when cracks explode out from around the hole and race outward in every direction. I take off at a full sprint and don't stop until I'm several hundred meters away. When I turn around, a massive sinkhole, over 50 meters wide, has swallowed the ground where we were standing. The live stream goes silent for a few seconds, then absolutely erupts. Viewership goes through the roof. You stare into the abyss, and the abyss stares back and swallows the ground. Is Liam cursed? Like genuinely cursed? Yesterday, aerial bomb. Today, collapses a sports court. How is the school still standing? We cautiously walk back toward the edge of the collapse zone and look in. It's a pit 30 meters deep. From the bottom comes the constant sound of rushing water. A thick ruptured pipe is gushing water straight up. Right then, the system chimes in my head. Large-scale geological collapse event detected. Environmental data analysis module activated. Geological scan complete. A large underground cavity exists beneath the collapse zone. Cause: piping erosion. The main underground water supply pipe began a slow, chronic leak 3 years ago. The foundation fill in this area consists of loose sandy clay brought in from elsewhere. Prolonged leaking has steadily eroded and carried away the fine soil particles, forming a massive underground cavity. Everything suddenly clicks. No wonder the ground gave way so easily. The whole thing had already been hollowed out underneath. Professor Lee stares into the sinkhole and mutters, Liam, when Dean Carter gets here, try to be a little less you. The words are barely out when Dean Carter comes charging in with a pack of school officials, stumbling over each other to get here. Liam, look what you've done. You are going to give me a heart attack one of these days. I shrug. What does this have to do with me? Dean Carter completely loses it. He points at the sinkhole with a trembling hand. We have a 50-meter hole in the ground and you're saying it has nothing to do with you? I let out a patient sigh. Dean Carter, do you honestly think a student could create a sinkhole like this? Look carefully. That water pipe has been leaking for years. The moment that first small hole opened up, I could already hear water running underneath. Years of constant leaking kept washing away the fine particles in the fill soil. Over time, it carved out an enormous hollow right beneath us. The surface was nothing but a thin shell. My rock explosion just happened to punch through it. I stand up straight. I didn't do anything wrong. If anything, I just did the school a massive favor. Think about it. If this hadn't been exposed today, and it collapsed during a school-wide event instead, could you live with those consequences? Professor Lee nods, catching up. He's right. One look from a civil engineering professor, and this is confirmed. Dean Carter takes a long, slow breath. Liam, I apologize. My tone just now was out of line. Don't take it personally. Let me take you to dinner, and I'll add another $20,000 to yesterday's award. I blink. Dean Carter, you're too generous. Looking out for this school is just what I do. As for dinner, can I just take the cash instead? The entire crowd goes silent. Dean Carter can only nod, a little awkwardly, and agree. Right then, a line of police vehicles pulls up on scene. Leading them is the familiar face of Commissioner Chen. He takes one look at the 50-meter sinkhole and lets out a sharp breath. He walks over and shakes Dean Carter's hand. I have to say, Dean Carter, whatever is going on under this campus, it feels like it was built specifically to test me. When he finds out the sinkhole is connected to me, again, he pats my shoulder with a look of total resignation. Liam, our department's annual performance targets are about to be blown out of the water by one college student. I laugh awkwardly. You really can't blame this one on me. Commissioner Chen doesn't argue. He turns and gets to work. A perimeter is set up fast. Technical teams sweep the bottom of the pit with equipment. The findings match my analysis exactly. All that's left is to fill it in and restore the ground. But just then, a deep, muffled thud echoes up from the bottom of the pit. Commissioner Chen snaps out an order. It's going again. Everyone fall back. We scramble away from the edge. Once we're clear, we look back. A thick, dark wall has been exposed at the bottom. At its base sits an enormous blast-proof iron door covered in rust. In the center is a massive wheel-style valve that would take several people just to turn. Commissioner Chen immediately issues orders. Tech team, full structural scan of the pit walls. Radiation team, sweep the door area. Air team, collect gas samples from the door seams. Everyone else, behind the safety line. Engineering team, prep for structural reinforcement. Every team moves the moment the orders land. My eyes stay locked on that iron door. The system chimes in my head. Target structure analysis complete. Large-scale civil defense shelter, constructed between the late 1960s and early 1970s. Built in response to a specific geopolitical climate and nuclear threat. Originally belonging to a classified government unit. After the unit relocated, a gap in the records left this site forgotten. It was buried under fill soil and eventually built over by the university. Everything suddenly makes sense. I clear my throat. This might be a civil defense shelter. I've read about them. During the nuclear threat era, these shelters were built all across the country. Over time, many of them were simply forgotten. Look at that arched blast door, and those thick concrete walls, classic features of civil defense construction from the 60s and 70s. Everyone nods, turning it over in their minds. But Commissioner Chen frowns. A shelter this size? How could no one know about it? I give a calm smile. If it was a classified project, one lost file is all it takes to erase it from history. Professor Lee's breathing picks up. If that's true, what's inside could be invaluable. Commissioner Chen doesn't wait. He orders the valve opened. As the iron door swings open, the beams of powerful flashlights cut through the darkness, revealing a corridor that descends deep underground. He's just about to send a team in when a deep roar tears across the sky above us. We all look up. A military helicopter is cutting through the air toward us from the distance, and it forces a landing just nearby. A squad of fully armed soldiers steps out first. Then, a white-haired elder steps down, steadied by an officer at his side. Commissioner Chen strides forward and salutes. "Sir, I'm Chen Ming, Westshore City Police Commissioner." The officer returns the salute. "Commissioner Chen, this is General Han. We've already been briefed on the situation here. Effective immediately, the military assumes full command of this site. All operations are under General Han's authority." Commissioner Chen accepts without hesitation. General Han walks over and glances at the iron door. Then he turns to me with a smile. "Young man, I caught the live stream. The fact that you identified this as a civil defense shelter, that's impressive. Come down with me." And just like that, he leads the way through the door. Dozens of powerful flashlight beams light up the corridor like daylight. Rows of closed doors line both sides of the passage. Commissioner Chen eases one open. Inside, yellow documents are scattered everywhere. A history professor picks one up casually, then goes completely still. These are nuclear weapons research documents. Commissioner Chen takes one and scans it. "General Han, this has to be classified, right?" General Han's expression is hard to read. "Not anymore, I just didn't want it forgotten." Commissioner Chen immediately waves over his officers. "Secure everything in this room. Don't touch anything until the specialists arrive." We move on and check several more rooms. Some are stacked with old radio equipment and telephone switchboards. Others are bunk rooms, with documents scattered all over the floor. It's clear the people who left here did so in a hurry. We descend 2 more levels. A wide hall branches off into several arched tunnel entrances. We pick one and follow it to the end, and find an armory. A technician pulls the iron door open. Inside the vast storage space on the left, dozens of Type 56 semi-automatic rifles and Type 54 submachine guns. In the center, wooden crates packed with ammunition. Beside them, Type 67 grenades stacked into a small mountain. On the right, rows of rocket rounds lined up perfectly. A young officer lets out a hushed breath. "The firepower in here is absolutely insane." I go cold. Yesterday's aerial bomb was already beyond anything I expected. But if this armory went up, the whole university would cease to exist. The livestream viewers go absolutely wild. Viewership skyrockets. This is literally my dream apocalypse bunker. Fully armed. Doesn't matter how many zombies show up. If that legendary general from the old war dramas had access to this place, they'd be replacing the Statue of Liberty with his girlfriend. Commissioner Chen's voice cuts through the excitement. "Document everything. Photos of it all. Nobody touches a thing." General Han stands quietly, taking it all in, as if the site is pulling him back through decades of memory. We leave the arsenal and follow General Han deeper down to the lowest level, the research zone. We pass through the materials analysis lab and the data records room. Both are filled with documents, rare, irreplaceable. Decades ago, findings like these would have shaken the world. Now they are little more than artifacts of history. We reach the very deepest point of the research zone, where a heavy metal door blocks the way forward. It has an airtight valve and a complex mechanical lock. On the door, a radiation warning symbol. A tech officer holds the radiation detector up to the door gap. The instrument screams, sharp, piercing. Radiation levels are far beyond safe limits. Commissioner Chen orders everyone back without a second's hesitation. Even General Han's expression shifts. Only 2 officers in full protective suits remain. They grab hydraulic breaching tools and force the door open. Inside sits a nuclear device, 2.5 meters long. Nobody even stops to process the shock. Everyone spins around and sprints for the exit. We don't breathe again until we're back at the bottom of the sinkhole. Commissioner Chen immediately issues orders. Seal the sinkhole entrance. All non-essential personnel evacuate within 1 kilometer. Alert the CBRN division and the Nuclear Energy Authority. Now, the scene erupts into chaos. When the breathing finally settles, General Han lets out a long sigh. "Everyone, stay calm. That thing down there will not explode. It is an incomplete nuclear device. Back then, they already knew it could never sustain a chain reaction. It is a dud. Otherwise, it never would have been left here. Those words take the edge off the tension, just a little. Commissioner Chen finds Dean Carter. The unfinished nuclear device poses a potential radiation leak risk. Please evacuate all remaining personnel on campus immediately. Dean Carter, looking pale green, starts giving orders. The air raid siren wails across campus once more. Within minutes, the campus looks exactly like it did yesterday. Students file out in orderly lines, guided by their teachers. Not long after, military vehicles, CBRN trucks, and engineering units come rolling in. A few hours later, a team of top emergency specialists finishes assessing the scene and immediately starts arguing in the temporary command post. The white-haired senior expert slams the table. We build a shielding layer on-site first, seal it properly, then move it. The middle-aged expert in gold-rimmed glasses jumps to his feet. Heavy equipment can't get down there. Manual handling is gambling with lives. Someone suggests airlifting it by helicopter. The senior expert shuts it down instantly. Are you out of your mind? If it goes off mid-air, everything within several kilometers becomes rubble. The seconds tick by. The argument hits a dead end. I clear my throat. Maybe we can use a rail system. Every head in the room turns toward me. The experts all wear the same look, pure skepticism. General Han looks over at me. Young man, whatever's on your mind, say it. There's no wrong answer here. I scratch my head. I was paying attention when we went in. From the shelter entrance all the way to the device chamber, there are 2 short staircase sections, yes, but the corridor itself runs mostly level and straight. We lay down modular lightweight rails through the passage. We build a custom heavy-duty shock-proof shielded transport container on wheels, use a winch to send the empty container in, then use a remote hydraulic lateral transfer system to slide the nuclear device sideways into the container. The whole process stays horizontal. No tilting, no jolting, full control. Then we seal the container shut, winch it back out along the rails to the surface. A heavy transport vehicle with a lead-lined container meets it topside. Maximum protection against both physical shock and radiation leakage. The moment I finish, General Han turns to the stunned experts. What do you all think? The white-haired expert adjusts his glasses. This approach is remarkably clever. It balances safety and practicality perfectly. The others all nod in agreement. General Han makes the call without hesitation. We go with Liam's plan. Get the materials and equipment moving, now. Commissioner Chen gets on it immediately. The livestream viewers are completely speechless. Viewership surges again. Another massive wave. Is this even real? I came here for entertainment, not to watch this guy outthink nuclear experts. A problem that stumped nuclear specialists, solved by a college student. Liam is on another level entirely. Yesterday's aerial bomb solution was already wild. Today he cracks a nuclear device situation. Someone's getting recruited whether he likes it or not. I was going to show this to my parents as a feel-good stream. Liam has caused trouble. And then there's this guy making every other kid look average. Genuinely demoralizing. The stream is pure chaos and excitement. Outside the stream, the operation is in full swing. 2 hours later, everything is ready. The most dangerous phase of the operation begins. Every pair of eyes is locked on the monitors. Nobody dares to breathe. They watch as the nuclear device is slowly, carefully slid inch by inch into the transport container. Once the container is fully sealed, the motor pulls it steadily along the rails toward the surface. Under the tense gaze of everyone watching, the container comes to a smooth stop at the base of the sinkhole. Next, a hydraulic lift platform lowers the container precisely into the lead-lined unit. Moments after the final seal is locked, a tech officer stands and reports, all radiation levels have returned to normal. The words are barely out when the entire site erupts in cheers. Afterward, combat engineers use the container to transport the nuclear device out. Heritage Authority personnel collect all the critical documents. The work goes on past 8 in the evening before the civil defense shelter is finally cleared out completely. When the dust settles, I'm just about to head to the cafeteria for a late-night snack when General Han calls out to me. Liam, none of this would have happened without you. I'll be honest with you. This place, it connects to a comrade of mine. I have been searching for it for many years. Thank you. I wave my hands. General Han, you're far too kind. I stumbled onto this by accident. General Han smiles. Have you ever thought about military academy? I can have it arranged for you immediately. I believe you are exactly the kind of person this country needs. Those words land, and everyone within earshot quietly gasps. I just laugh awkwardly. Thank you, General Han, truly, but I actually love what I'm studying right now. General Han's smile doesn't fade at all. Good, that makes me like you even more. I respect your choice, but this offer stands permanently. You can come find me anytime. I break into a shy grin. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you, General Han. After a warm exchange of goodbyes, General Han boards his helicopter and lifts off. Commissioner Chen leads his team out shortly after. Only the CBRN unit remains, managing the residual radiation. Dean Carter sidles up to me. Liam, do you have a bank account? I'll wire the money to you tonight. I pull out my card and hand it over without missing a beat. Moments later, my phone buzzes. 71,000 yuan received. I thank Dean Carter on the spot and pull Marcus away with me. That night, lying in bed, I pull up the virtual panel and use 2 draw chances on the system. A second later, the chime sounds in my head. 2 draw chances consumed. Skills unlocked. Master of Ceremonies. I stare at the panel completely blank. What is that even good for? I let out a sigh and go straight to sleep. Next morning, I head to the cafeteria with my roommates. On the notice board, a freshly posted campus rule: students are prohibited from striking rocks anywhere on campus. At the same moment, the system chimes in my head. New campus rule detected. 1 draw chance awarded. Jason and Kevin slap my shoulders, laughing. Liam, you're unreal. 3 new campus rules in 2 days. I give them both a look and walk straight into the cafeteria. Because of everything that happened, the school gives everyone a day off. After breakfast, we head back to the dorm. I haul all the rocks Professor Lee sent over out onto the balcony. My roommates leap up to block me. Liam, The new rule says no striking rocks anywhere on campus. I grin. It says not on the ground. I won't be hitting the ground. And with that, I pull out a rope, tie up a basketball-sized rock, and hang it from the drying rack. Then I pick up the sledgehammer and start swinging downward. After about a dozen hits, the rock cracks open with a sharp snap and drops to the floor. I pick it up and look inside. There it is, an actual bivalve fossil. That gets me fired up. I swap in the next rock and keep swinging. The second rock is almost ready to crack. I wind up and bring the hammer down hard, but the next second, the balcony ceiling collapses. Chunks of plaster crash everywhere. I throw my arms over my head and bolt back inside. Jason is coughing through the dust. Liam, you just knocked through the balcony ceiling. Before he even finishes, a pile of debris comes crashing down, and two people come down with it. When the dust finally clears, we can see them. A guy and a girl, both in school uniforms. My brain completely shuts down. Marcus and my roommates all stand there, mouths hanging open wide enough to fit a whole egg. The livestream viewers are just as stunned. Viewership has now crossed 100,000. Quick lesson for anyone who doesn't know. The outer parapet wall along the roof edge is mostly hollow foam inside. It is not solid concrete, never has been. One good hit and down it goes. Something is seriously wrong with this dorm. Did the rocks really have to be smashed? Keep it up and the whole building comes down. I finally understand how Dean Carter feels. Love him, hate him, and absolutely nothing you can do about it. Just then, a round of coughing cuts through the silence. I snap back to reality and quickly pull both of them inside the room. The guy wipes the dust off his face. Are you serious right now? We just wanted a quiet, peaceful death together. Beside him, the girl keeps wiping her tears. Is dying really this complicated? I jump in. Are you two okay? The guy laughs at himself, and then, out of nowhere, starts singing. My face twitches, of all the moments to break into song. After a round of questions, the picture comes together. The guy's name is Danny, the girl's name is Maya. They grew up together. Childhood sweethearts. They promised each other they'd get married after graduation, but their families have a long-standing feud. Both sets of parents refuse to budge. In a moment of despair, Maya disguised herself as a guy so they could sneak onto the rooftop together and end it all. I stare at them and slowly roll my eyes. You're not afraid to die, but you're afraid of your parents? That feud belongs to the generation above you. It has nothing to do with you two. If you really want to be together, just get married. They both stare at me, eyes wide. Get married? I nod. Throw a big bold wedding. Show your parents exactly how serious you are. They'll come around, I promise. Danny laughs bitterly. I can't afford a wedding, and even if I could, nobody would show up. I grin. None of that is a problem. I'll handle the whole wedding. I'll even make you money in the process. We do it right here, in the school cafeteria. Everyone stares at me. Their eyes are practically falling out of their heads. Jason grabs my arm. Is this actually going to work? There's no way the school agrees to this. I curl the corner of my mouth. Where there's a will, there's a way. Kevin steps up beside me. Tell me what you need, I'm in. Jason nods along, catching the energy. Danny sees this and his eyes go red again. Thank you, all of you. Considering these two were ready to end their lives not long ago, I throw an arm around Danny's shoulder. Let's do this today. We're going full traditional Chinese wedding. Go rent a proper set of traditional wedding outfits. Now. He grabs Maya's hand and they're out the door. I take the others with me and go work on convincing the cafeteria manager first. Then I go find Professor Lee. He hears me out and slams his hand on the desk. This is absurd. Completely out of the question. And now you want me to go plead your case to the dean? You want that done. You do it yourself. I let out a long sigh. Paleontology is so boring sometimes. Word on campus is that the music department is full of gorgeous girls. Professor Lee slams his hand on the desk. You've got some nerve threatening me, kid. Fine, I'll take you to Dean Carter myself. But don't count on him saying yes. He leads me straight to the dean's office. To my surprise, Dean Carter agrees on the spot. The incident a few days ago has everyone on edge. A wedding banquet is exactly what this campus needs right now. Too bad I have a client dinner tonight. Otherwise, I'd give a speech myself. I thank them both immediately. I say goodbye to Professor Lee and Dean Carter. We rush off to print the flyers. Then we set up a table right where the foot traffic is heaviest. As the crowd starts to grow, I grab the megaphone. Tonight, our fellow alumni, Danny, is getting married right here in Cafeteria 1. Everyone is welcome to join the celebration. Dean Carter has made it official. Bring a gift and you're in. The moment I finish, the crowd goes wild. Students whip out their phones and start snapping photos, sharing everywhere. Soon, more and more people are signing up to perform. Volunteers pour in to help decorate and set out the wedding candy. Before we know it, evening arrives. Danny shows up with Maya by his side. With them are both sets of grandparents, the only two elders who ever stood behind them. By now, a massive line is snaking all the way from the cafeteria entrance. Students flood in from every direction. Even plenty of professors show up just to see what's going on. The lion dance troupe kicks off their performance. A gift table is set up right at the entrance. I had suggested 50 yuan per person as a rough guideline, but students chip in way more than that on their own. Most give around 100, some even several hundred. The cafeteria is packed to the last seat. At least 1,500 people have shown up. Every performance on stage brings screams from the crowd. Once most people have eaten and drunk their fill, the music cuts out. I step up as the wedding MC, dressed in a traditional ceremonial robe, and walk onto the stage. I scan the sea of faces below me. Distinguished guests, on this auspicious day and hour, as the lanterns begin to glow, We gather here together to witness one of life's most beautiful occasions. As the ancient Book of Rites tells us, marriage joins two families as one, the very foundation of human bonds, and the beginning of all rights and harmony. Today, Danny of the Huang family and Maya of the Li family come together on this blessed day to be wed, bound by a bond that will last 100 years. The moment I finish speaking, applause erupts. The livestream chat goes absolutely crazy. The viewer count explodes. That delivery, that tone, even a broadcasting major couldn't pull that off. There's just something different about the way he says it. We're literally in a cafeteria, and it feels like a royal ceremony at the Imperial Temple. Now that's the vibe. My ancestral memory is activating right now. As the applause fades, I raise my right hand and continue. This hall may have no carved beams or painted rafters, but it is adorned with sincerity. Though there is no gold or jade, 1,000 loyal hearts are here to celebrate. Red ribbons hang high above, blazing with the fire of our youth. The lights shine bright, lighting the way for the couple's future. In this moment, heaven and earth bear witness. The hour is upon us. I raise my arm pointing toward the far end of the red carpet. Please welcome our newlyweds into the hall. Every single person turns to look where I'm pointing. Danny and Maya appear, dressed in brilliant red traditional wedding attire, walking slowly toward us. As they approach, I step aside. Bride and groom, please take your places at the altar. Compose yourselves. We now perform the traditional wedding bow ceremony. First bow, to heaven and earth. We give thanks to the sky above and the earth below for bringing these two souls together. The two of them move in perfect time with my words. They bow deeply toward the entrance. Second bow, to the elders. May our grandparents be blessed with long life and prosperity, and may this family flourish for generations to come. The grandparents seated at the head table are already in tears, overcome with emotion. Third bow, husband and wife bow to each other, pledging to grow old together through every lifetime. For this final bow, they bend lower than ever before. As they rise, Danny reaches out and holds Maya's hand tight. I smile at them both. The ceremony is complete, I announce. Groom, bride, may your future shine as bright as it can be. The entire cafeteria erupts. Right at that moment, Kevin grabs the mic and rushes the stage. Everyone, this whole wedding was planned by Liam. We demand Liam perform something for us right now. The crowd goes wild at that. Cheers and chants ring out from every corner. Faced with that kind of energy, I take the mic back. How can I say no? All right, I'll do something quick. And with that, I walk over to Wendy, the campus beauty who just finished performing. Mind if I borrow your guzheng? I carry it to center stage. I signal the sound crew to start the backing track. Then I hold the guzheng upright against my body with one hand. And then, the opening melody of Yonggong Shunyan explodes from the strings. For a moment, everyone freezes. Then heads start bobbing with the beat. My fingers pick up speed. A few guys from the music department can't hold back anymore. They grab their instruments and rush the stage. Right behind them, a group of vocal performance girls sprint up too, circling the stage, singing and spinning. Someone in the crowd shouts, and suddenly everyone rushes to the front of the stage. They're going absolutely wild, dancing to every beat of the guzheng. The cafeteria has completely transformed into a dance floor. I'm totally in the zone. When the first song ends, I launch straight into Red Sun. With the whole music crew backing me up, the energy in the room hits its absolute peak. Even the usually composed professors come down to join the dancing. The wedding goes on for over 2 hours. After the students clear out, I hand Danny a thick stack of cash. After food and venue costs, you cleared over 60,000 yuan, take it. Danny starts to say no, but one look from me stops him cold. He blinks back tears and quietly says, thank you. Just then, the cafeteria manager comes sprinting over. Which one of you took the fish from Dean Carter's tank? Jason scratches the back of his head. I thought they were just regular fish, so I had the culinary students fry them up. The manager stomps his feet in a panic. The dean just got those fish this morning. He specifically told me to guard them. He needed them for tonight, and now they're gone. And there's no way to buy that kind of fish this late at night. I grab the manager's hand before he tears his hair out. Are we talking about those tiny little fish? The ones about the size of a grain of wheat? He nods. I wave my hand. Leave it to me. I'll get them back. And just like that, I take my roommates to the biggest foot spa in the area. Inside, I walk up to the front desk. Do you sell those little fish you use for the dead skin treatments? We can work something out on the price. The spa manager hears the commotion and comes over. After a bit of back and forth, I pay 200 yuan for over 100 of the little fish and take them with me. Then I bring them straight back to the cafeteria manager. That same night, just as I'm getting ready for bed, Professor Lee calls out of nowhere and tells me to get to the clinic. I've barely walked through the door when I see Dean Carter pointing at me, his hand trembling. Liam, you better start talking. Where exactly did those fish come from? I scratch my head. From a foot spa. Professor Lee goes pale. You mean the kind that eats dead skin off people's feet? I give a stiff nod, dead silence. Then, the person in the bed next to us suddenly bolts upright and sprints to the bathroom to be sick. Professor Lee stares at me like he's deeply disappointed. He points toward the bathroom. Those fish were prepared for Dean Carter's dinner with Director Yang. They were halfway through eating when the stomach cramps hit, and they ended up here. The clinic doctor says they have athlete's foot bacteria in their mouths. I shrink into my shoulders. How was I supposed to know they were going to eat the fish? The moment I say that, Dean Carter nearly passes out from sheer rage. Meanwhile, the live stream chat has completely lost it. The viewer count keeps exploding. Ha 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 ha! They deep-fried foot spa fish and serve them at dinner. Director Yang is never going to look at a small fish the same way again. Predictably, we get absolutely chewed out. Dean Carter, still fuming, calls his secretary on the spot. Issue 2 new campus rules tomorrow. No more wedding banquets on school grounds, and absolutely no one touches the fish in the cafeteria tank. That evening, I lie back on my bed and immediately do a system spin. The system chimes. 1 spin used. Skill unlocked. Combat mastery. The next second, I'm up off the bed like a shot, feeling raw power surge through my entire body. My heart is hammering in my chest. The next morning, my roommates and I head to the cafeteria for breakfast like usual. The notice board already has a crowd around it. We push over to take a look, and sure enough, there are new campus rules posted. The system chimes at the same time. Spin opportunity earned. After breakfast, I split off from my roommates and head to Professor Lee's office with Marcus. He looks up at me with zero patience. What do you want now? Haven't you caused enough damage with rocks already? I wave my hands. You can have the rocks back. I'm done with them. Not touching another one. Professor Lee can't help but laugh. Fine, then switch your topic. Study the metal deposits in the campus ecosystem and remnants of modern artifacts. Find metal objects from different time periods. Analyze how corrosion relates to the surrounding environment. I leave his office with a frown on my face, racking my brain for where to find materials. Without realizing it, I've wandered right to the edge of the campus lake. Then it hits me. This lake has been here since the school was founded. Over all these years, who knows how many things people have thrown in there, buried in the mud at the bottom, soaking and corroding at different rates. It's a perfect fit for the research. With that, I turn around and head straight back to Professor Lee's office. Professor, do you know where I can get a strong magnet? School rules say no digging, so I'm going to fish my research samples out of the water. Professor Lee's eyes light up. Kid, that brain of yours actually works sometimes. I'll go grab one from the physics lab. A little while later, he drops the magnet into my hand. Stay safe. Stay on the bank at all times. Do not get in the water. And anything you pull up, log it properly. I take the magnet and walk off grinning. Relax, Professor. I've got it covered. A few minutes later, Marcus and I find a spot near the center of the campus lake. I toss the magnetic fishing hook into the water. The moment I feel the rope go taut, I pull hard. Up comes a waterlogged phone. I give it a glance and toss it aside. I cast the magnet in a different direction. This time, I drag up a battered old laptop. Thick iron wire wrapped several times around the ports. I hold up the dripping laptop. Someone put this thing in restraints. What kind of secrets are hiding on this thing? Marcus nods eagerly. Too bad it's fried. I'd love to plug it in and find out. I toss it to the side and cast again. The magnet goes back into the water. This time when I start pulling, I can immediately feel serious resistance. Way heavier than the laptop. I wave Marcus over. He rushes over and grabs the rope with me. I clench my teeth. Did we hook a motorcycle down there? What is this thing? Marcus's neck veins are bulging. Liam, I'm dying. My hands are about to give out. I brace both feet hard against the railing. One more push. It's almost up. Finally, just as we're both about to collapse, a safe crashes through the surface. We give it everything we have and haul it onto the bank. Marcus walks around it. This safe looks like it was never opened. You think there's something good inside? Could be. Look at these dents. Someone clearly tried to force it open. When they couldn't crack it, they threw it in the lake. I give the safe a shake. There's definitely something inside. We'll pry it open later and decide then if we need to call the police. I set the safe to one side and keep fishing, but the next several pulls just bring up one bizarre object after another. I start losing patience. I move the magnetic fishing hook to a deeper cove further along the lake. I take a deep breath and hurl the magnet toward the center of the lake. The rope goes taut almost immediately. I pull it up. A crowbar. My mind jumps straight to the safe. No way this is a coincidence. I set the crowbar down and cast the magnet again. This time, a large hammer. Third cast, a dagger. Marcus's face shifts. Maybe we should stop. Why does it feel this creepy in broad daylight? The livestream chat explodes. The viewer count keeps shooting up. Liam is the magnet. He digs a hole and finds a wartime bomb. He throws rocks and collapses the whole athletic field. Now he's fishing. Something bad is definitely coming. I take a breath and push down the unease rising in my chest. I cast the magnet one more time. This one is a boning knife. In the grooves along the handle, stubborn dark brown staining, almost black. Marcus leans in close. That's not a murder weapon, is it? That does it. I throw the magnet back in immediately. About 10 seconds later, the rope snaps taut so hard it nearly drags me into the lake. I spin toward Marcus. Get over here, now. This is something massive. We both lean back with all our weight, dragging the rope back inch by inch. I grind my back teeth together. Did we hook the grandfather of all safes down there? This is insane. Just as we're both about to give out, a massive black suitcase bursts through the surface. I freeze. No way. Please tell me there's not a body in there. Together we haul the suitcase up onto the bank. I grab the crowbar and work it under the zipper that hasn't fully closed. Then, a jaw full of jagged teeth lunges out of the gap and clamps down hard on the crowbar. My hands tighten around the other end on pure instinct. My whole body goes rigid. It's a crocodile, over 3 feet long. How is there a crocodile in the campus lake? It locks its jaw and refuses to let go. I snatch the hammer off the ground and smash it down on the croc's head with everything I've got. The crocodile shudders. Its grip loosens significantly. I follow up with several more strikes until it finally releases the crowbar completely and slumps motionless next to the suitcase. I drop the crowbar and hammer and collapse right down onto the ground, gasping for breath. Thank everything for the combat mastery skill from the system, because if those teeth had connected properly, my hand would have been done for. Marcus finally creeps over, shaking from head to toe. Liam, did you just kill that crocodile? I shake my head, just knocked out. Once I pull myself together, I pull out my phone with trembling hands and call Professor Lee. A few seconds later, his cheerful voice comes through. Liam, did you find your research materials? My face falls. Research materials? I almost just died out here. I pulled a crocodile out of the lake. His voice shoots up an octave. Are you serious? Stay safe. I'm on my way. He hangs up, and barely any time passes before Professor Lee comes sprinting over, completely out of breath. The moment he sees the crocodile on the ground, his eyes nearly pop out of his head. How is there a crocodile on this campus? He whips out his phone and calls Dean Carter immediately. Less than 10 minutes later, Dean Carter arrives with a group of school administrators, rushing in like the building is on fire. One look at the crocodile, every single face goes white. Find out how this got here. How does a crocodile end up on a university campus? I want a full investigation, now. He turns and points at the administrators behind him, letting them have it without holding back. Then he pulls out his phone and dials emergency services. Before long, police cars and a wildlife protection vehicle pull up. An officer assesses the scene and reports back to the team right away. After a thorough check, the crocodile is confirmed to be just unconscious and shows clear signs of having been raised in captivity. Just as the workers are getting ready to take it away, a system alert flashes in front of my eyes. Murder case detected. Fresh excrement from this crocodile contains extremely high concentrations of human skin and hair, along with degraded fragments of muscle tissue. This indicates the animal has been systematically and extensively consuming human remains. I snap my head up. Wait, Detective Ray turns toward me. Liam, did you find something? I walk quickly to the excrement behind the crocodile and crouch down. I pick up a stick and carefully sift through it. Detective Ray, look at this. His expression goes deadly serious. That's hair. I keep working the stick through it. More and more strands of hair come out. Detective Ray is on his feet in an instant. Get the forensics team on the phone and call in the criminal investigation unit for backup. Lock down this scene immediately while we wait for forensics. I hand over the crowbar, the dagger, and everything else I pulled from the lake. A few minutes later, multiple police cars come screaming in. Right behind them, a team of detectives, forensic specialists, and technicians come running up. Detective Ray steps forward to meet them. He points at the excrement. Extract all hair samples from that. Run a preliminary analysis, and every tool recovered from the lake, all of it needs to be examined. Then he turns and points in the other direction. Get the laptop back to the station for recovery. Open the safe right here, and send a dive team into the lake for more evidence. Orders given. Everyone moves at once. Detective Ray pulls Marcus and me aside and asks us exactly where we pulled up each item and what conditions were like when we found them. Not far away, the forensic technicians use specialized tools to crack open the safe. Inside, a large bag, stuffed entirely with 100 yuan bills. A rough count puts it at somewhere between 200 and 300,000 yuan. Just as everyone assumes the safe is empty, I step forward. Hold on, there's something wedged in the corner. I reach inside and pull an SD card from a hidden slot in the inner wall. Detective Ray's eyes light up. Get a card reader and a laptop, now. The technicians work their magic, and the SD card opens without a problem. There is only one file on it, a video. They press play. The footage shows a large enclosure. A crocodile lunges up and snatches a chunk of meat. A rubber-gloved hand flashes briefly at the top of the frame. The clip is barely 10 seconds long. Everyone's face goes tight with unease. The texture of that meat, it is nothing like normal animal meat. Combined with the hair found in the excrement, the answer is staring everyone in the face. Detective Ray turns sharply to the forensic examiner. Any results yet? The examiner walks over quickly. Preliminary results are in. The hair samples from the excrement are confirmed human. Blood traces have also been recovered from both the dagger and the boning knife. Detective Ray's face goes stone cold. Contact the water authority and fire department. Get the highest capacity pumping equipment they have. I want everything on the bottom of that lake brought up. Officers are already running to make the calls. The live stream viewers are completely horrified. The viewer count keeps climbing. Dean Carter stands nearby, pale as a ghost. We must get to the bottom of this. The school will fully cooperate. Just then, the academic affairs director walks over with a student wearing glasses. Dean Carter, this student says he may have seen the crocodile before. Dean Carter snaps to attention. Where? When? The student's voice is shaking. 3 nights ago, just after 10 p.m., over near the medical building, I heard something, like an animal chewing. I was terrified. Right before I ran, I caught a glimpse of something large moving in the dark. He stares at the restrained crocodile for a long moment. It was so dark that night. I can't say for certain it was this one. Once the student is calmed down, every pair of eyes turns to me. I scratch my head. What? Dean Carter gives a tired smile. 3 nights ago, wasn't that when the wartime bomb you dug up went off? Something clicks. Whoever owns that crocodile would never let it roam freely. The explosion from the bomb must have startled it, spooked it badly enough that it bolted while the campus was empty. The timing lines up perfectly with what that student described, so whoever's behind this is probably based near the medical building. Everyone nods in agreement. Detective Ray and Dean Carter immediately split the team up to search. Professor Lee and I follow along. Detective Ray heads straight for the spot the student mentioned. I follow Dean Carter and the officers up toward the top floor. That's where the medical department is, specifically Dr. Victor's private lab and office. On the way up, Dean Carter keeps saying what a warm and friendly person Dr. Victor is, even regularly donating to help people living on the streets. This entire floor of private lab space was specially approved by the school. At the entrance to the office, Dean Carter knocks on the door. No answer. He knocks harder, and the door swings open on its own. The room inside is bare. One look is all it takes. There is no way a crocodile ever lived in here. The officers do a quick sweep and step back out. Dean Carter turns toward the lab next door. Just then, a calm voice comes from behind them. Dean Carter, what brings everyone up here? Dr. Victor steps out from the stairwell with an easy smile. Dean Carter quickly fills him in on everything that's happened. Dr. Victor listens carefully, then opens the lab door without hesitation. Nothing unusual inside, just equipment and skeletal specimens. The officers check thoroughly and find nothing. Just as everyone starts to turn and leave, my eyes drift and land on a full human skeletal specimen against the wall. The system alert fires instantly. Victim, Victim, Zhang Changhai, male, 38 years old, a homeless person who went missing 8 months ago, killed by a blunt force blow to the head, and died from severe blood loss. I force myself to stay calm and follow everyone out of the medical building. We run into Detective Ray coming out of the storage room. He shakes his head. Nothing found. I step forward and pull Dean Carter aside. Are the school's skeletal specimens all sourced through official channels? Is there a record of where each one came from? He gives me a puzzled look. Of course. Everything is above board. All legally purchased or donated. Why do you ask? I frown. When I was in Dr. Victor's lab just now, I caught a glimpse of the skeleton in the corner. Something about the back of the skull looked off, like there might be a depression or fracture there. In that video, the crocodile was being fed chunks of meat. And then there's that boning knife we pulled up. I'm starting to wonder if a victim could have been turned into one of those specimens. Detective Ray's eyes sharpen. You sure about what you saw? I paused deliberately for a moment. I was standing pretty far away, so I can't be certain. It just felt wrong. Detective Ray immediately directs the other officers to keep searching, while he heads back up to the top floor with us. He goes straight to the specimen and examines it closely. Then he finds it, a faint linear depression in the skull, with radiating fracture lines spreading out from it. Dean Carter spins toward Dr. Victor. What happened to this specimen? Dr. Victor gives a calm smile. A student dropped it by accident when moving it. Since it was slightly damaged, I just kept it here. I grab Detective Ray's arm. Get a forensic examiner to look at this. That will tell us everything. Detective Ray nods and raises his radio to call in the forensic team. In that moment, Dr. Victor's smile freezes. Just for a second. Dean Carter catches it and his brow tightens. Victor, this is serious. Take us to the storage room. I want to see this year's specimens. Dr. Victor gives a slow nod and leads us down to the basement level. The moment the door opens, a sharp wave of formaldehyde hits us in the face. The lights flicker on, and the system alerts start firing non-stop. Victim, unidentified male. Homeless individual. Cause of death, asphyxiation. Victim, unidentified male. Homeless individual. Cause of death, sharp object pierced through the heart. My heart is hammering. Every single specimen in this room is a murdered homeless person. Right then, Dr. Victor raises a baseball bat and knocks Detective Ray out cold. Dean Carter goes ashen with shock. Have you lost your mind? I turn to face Dr. Victor, my voice ice cold. You're the one who owns the crocodile. Every specimen upstairs is one of your victims. You're afraid of what forensics will find. So now you want to take everyone down with you. The look he gives me is absolutely chilling. You and that bomb you dug up, that's what spooked my crocodile. And now you've blown my cover. Today, you become my next specimen. He lunges at the electrical panel, punches in a code, and slams the red button beside it. The wall on the side splits open, revealing a hidden room. Marcus's voice is barely holding together. That's the place from the video. The next second, a massive dark shape slowly crawls out, a fully grown adult crocodile, nearly 10 feet long. Dean Carter, Marcus, and the others scream. Dr. Victor stands on an elevated platform above. Go on, eat. This is your last meal. The giant crocodile moves like it understood every word, launching straight at the unconscious Detective Ray. In that split second, I explode forward, yanking Detective Ray back from the crocodile's jaws and shoving him toward Marcus. The giant crocodile whips its tail and charges straight at me. I grab a metal support rod off the ground, and the instant it opens its jaws, I drive the rod in and jam it wide open. The beast that was terrifying a moment ago can now do nothing but thrash uselessly. With everyone watching in disbelief, I bring my fist down hard on the crocodile's skull. The metal rod punches clean through both jaws. The giant crocodile goes completely still. I spin and charge straight at Dr. Victor. One hand on the edge of the platform, I throw my core into it and flip myself up. And in one fluid motion, I drive a high kick straight into his jaw. Dr. Victor's eyes roll back. He topples off the platform like a plank of wood. He hits the ground convulsing, curled up, drool running from the corner of his mouth. Dean Carter and the others are completely stunned. Marcus swallows hard. He's not dead, is he? I drop down from the platform without effort. I glance over at Dr. Victor. He's just unconscious. He'll live. Professor Lee finally snaps back to reality. Liam, are you all right? Since when can you fight like that? I scratch the back of my head. Never had the chance to show it before. Dean Carter steps forward. Save it for later. Get Detective Ray to the hospital right now. That snaps the rest of us out of it. A quick phone call, and shortly after, a large team of officers arrives. They secure both the crocodile and Dr. Victor. After a medical check, Detective Ray is confirmed to have no serious injuries. When he comes to and hears what happened, the color drains from his face. I'm taken in as a key witness and head to the station to give my statement. That's when I learn the full story. Dr. Victor is a deeply disturbed individual, with an extreme obsession with making specimens. He spent years hiding behind a kind, generous persona, luring in homeless people, using his crocodile to dispose of the bodies, then displaying the finished specimens openly in his office. The safe we found had been stolen by a student from another school, someone who discovered Dr. Victor's secret and tried to blackmail him. That student became a specimen too. If I hadn't pulled that crocodile and that safe out of the lake, there's no telling how many more people would have suffered the same fate. By the time I leave the station, it's fully dark outside. Detective Ray personally drives me back to campus. Back in my dorm room, I pull up the system panel and feel a rush of excitement. The combat mastery skill I got from yesterday's spin literally saved my life. With that thought, I do another spin immediately. The next second, one spin used. Skill unlocked, bomb disposal expert. I just stare. Is the system trying to tell me something? The next morning, my roommates and I head to the cafeteria, and the notice board already has a crowd around it. 2 more new campus rules have been posted. No keeping crocodiles on school grounds. No magnetic fishing in the campus lake. The system chimes immediately. 2 spin opportunities earned. After breakfast, I split off from my roommates and head to Professor Lee's office. The moment he sees me, he takes a step back. Stay right there. I stop dead in the doorway. Professor, seriously? That sets him off completely. Of course I'm serious. Do you have any idea what my life has been like these past few days? Anyway, no assignments today. Dean Carter wants to commend you in front of the whole school. Get yourself to the broadcast room and say a few words. Thank the leadership, encourage your fellow students, keep it short. I look at him and sigh. There's no point arguing. I agree. When I get to the broadcast room, the teacher in charge hasn't arrived yet. Marcus and I settle in to wait. I idly mess with the buttons on the equipment. What's gotten into Professor Lee today? Did his wife yell at him? Or is it a midlife crisis? Marcus grins. Probably just stressed out. I straighten up. What do you think of Dean Carter, honestly? Marcus thinks for a second. Seems like a solid dean, takes his job seriously. I roll my eyes. Yeah, right. Last time I was in his office, I accidentally caught him in a dress and a wig taking selfies, pouting at the camera with a peace sign. At his age, I don't know what to say. Marcus leans in. What about the academic affairs director? He always looks so stern. I laugh. All bark, no bite. Let me tell you something. You know those little ads they stick up in the school bathroom stalls for certain personal issues? I once saw him standing there on the phone, dialing the number right off the wall. You can figure out the rest. Every single teacher at this school has something to hide. One of these days when I've got time, I'll go through every single one of them. Right then, there's a knock at the door. Outside stands a middle-aged man in worn work clothes, a beat-up tool bag slung over his shoulder. He sees me and forces a stiff smile. Excuse me, are you Liam? I nod. That's me. And you are? He steps closer and smiles. My son goes to school here. He looks up to you. You're his idol. Seeing you in person, I can see why. I stand up immediately. Thank you, sir. That's very kind of you. You really didn't have to say that. The man gestures at the microphone on the desk. I'm here to do a maintenance check. I step aside to give him room. And then, he presses a knife against my throat. Don't move. Move again, and I'll end you. I can feel his arm trembling. I force myself to stay calm. Sir, please stay calm. I haven't done anything to you. His voice is rough and hoarse. I'm not lying to you. My son's name is Leo. He really did look up to you. That's why I came to you. I'm sorry. The name doesn't ring a bell for me. Honestly, I don't think I really knew your son. We have no quarrel between us. He chokes up, struggling to get himself under control. I don't actually want to hurt you. If you want to blame someone, blame this school. The people in charge here are worthless. Just cooperate with me, and I won't hurt you. Then he actually turns the knife around, pressing the blunt back of the blade against my throat instead. Something shifts in my eyes. Then why are you doing this? Is it your son? What happened to him? His voice breaks. He's gone. Then, in halting words, he begins to talk. And I learned the truth. Leo had always been a quiet, timid kid. His family had very little money. It had always been just the two of them, father and son. Leo never wanted to add to his dad's burden, so he only ever shared the good things and hid the rest. But eventually, Leo's dad found out. He went to the homeroom teacher and got nothing but brush-offs. Years of relentless bullying had pushed Leo into severe depression. 2 months ago, he took his own life. And now I remember. Leo, that quiet underclassman who rarely smiled. I'd stepped in for him once, just one sentence to get him out of a bad spot, and he never forgot it. Sir, I'm sorry. If I had known sooner, maybe I could have done something. So what are you going to do now? Tears spill from his eyes. I just want people to know. Everyone needs to hear what happened. Right then, Dean Carter's voice comes from the doorway. Leo's father, please stay calm. I'm the dean of the school. I know everything. What happened to your son was a failure on our part. There's no question about that. I promise you, you will get justice. But please, let Liam go first. We can talk this through. Leo's dad hears him and immediately spins around with me in his grip facing the door. Don't try to play me. People like you're all the same underneath. Get the press here and someone from the Education Bureau, or I will make sure this blows up completely. My son deserves justice. Dean Carter turns sharply, furious. Mr. Liu, Leo was being bullied. Why didn't you report it? And what exactly did you do about it? Mr. Liu goes pale. I looked into it. It seemed like a minor conflict between students. I spoke to the students involved. I called in their parents. I had no idea it would come to this. I never imagined something like this would happen. Leo's dad completely loses it. Shut your mouth. My son is dead, and you're standing there calling it a minor conflict? If my son doesn't get justice today, nobody walks out of here. The live stream viewer count is shooting through the roof. The chat is absolutely furious. I have terminal cancer, 2 months left to live, but I still fight for kids like this. Any parents with a bullied child, reach out to me. Pay me right, and I'll handle it. Has anyone else noticed? It's almost always the quiet, withdrawn kids who get targeted. The confident, outgoing ones almost never get touched, because with bullying, there's only the first time, and then it never stops. A child with a strong sense of self will tell their parents right away, but a child full of self-doubt will swallow it. Every single time. Lock every one of these bullies up. Just then, a burst of urgent sirens rises from below. Commissioner Chen arrives at the broadcast room shortly after. I am the Commissioner of Public Security. You are surrounded. Put down your weapon, and we can talk this through calmly. Don't do something you can't. Take back. The moment Commissioner Chen finishes speaking, several red laser dots appear on Leo's dad. I know the snipers are already in position. My chest tightens. I look out toward the door. Commissioner Chen, don't shoot. I'm scared. And Leo's dad hesitates the moment he hears me. He suddenly shoves me away. Hard. Go ahead then, shoot. We'll all go together. I stumble and catch myself, and turn back around. That's when I see it. What looks like detonator strapped under his jacket, a lighter clenched in his fist. He opens his bag, and inside, a timing device wired to a board with red and blue cables. He laughs. Loud and unhinged. I didn't come here today expecting to walk out. My son is gone. There's nothing left for me. Even if you kill me, it won't matter. I've already planted timed explosives all over this school. The moment I die, they go off. Dean Carter hears this. His vision goes dark, nearly collapsing. He shouts at the teachers, "Evacuate the entire campus now!" Teachers bolt for the stairs immediately. Commissioner Chen grabs his radio. "Get the bomb disposal unit on the line right now. Tell them to move as fast as they can. Full sweep of the entire campus. I stand about 15 meters from the broadcast room door, watching Leo's dad with that look of someone who has nothing left to lose. It sits heavy in my chest. I can't help it. I walk toward him. Please stop. This isn't going to fix anything. If you die, who fights for Leo? I point at Marcus beside me and pull out the camera clipped to his chest. Everything we just said has been going out live. It's not just the people in this room. Everyone online can see this right now. You wanted people to know, and they do. There's no need to take this any further. I wasn't there for Leo when it mattered, but this time I will personally make sure he gets justice. Dean Carter steps in quickly. Liam is right. Talk to me. Tell me everything. I swear those responsible will face real consequences. Commissioner Chen takes a step forward and stands beside me. You have my word. We will open a formal investigation into your son's case immediately. If what you've told us checks out, and people are found to have broken the law, I guarantee every single one of them will be arrested. Leo will get the justice he deserves. Under the weight of everything we've said, the fight slowly drains from Leo's dad's eyes. The hand holding the lighter drops to his side. He staggers back one step, falls against the wall, and slowly slides down to the floor. The SWAT officers who've been ready this whole time move in and secure him instantly. Others rush forward to check the explosives on his body. Moments later, a SWAT officer stands up and reports, "Preliminary check complete. All explosive devices are fake props. Zero actual explosive risk." Everyone freezes. Commissioner Chen doesn't know whether to laugh or shake his head. He tells the SWAT team to stand down, but just as everyone thinks this is finally over, Captain Zhang from the bomb disposal unit comes sprinting in. "Commissioner, in the library's rare books reading room, third row, inside a hidden compartment at the top of the bookshelf, we found a device containing C4 explosive, approximately 1.5 kilograms, connected to a high-precision electronic time detonator, enough force to level the entire reading room and the surrounding area. The countdown is at 3 hours and 38 minutes. The room goes dead silent. Then, pure panic. Commissioner Chen's eyes go wide. He spins toward Leo's dad. "What is this?" Leo's dad shakes his head frantically. "It's not me. I swear. No matter how far gone I am, I would never hurt innocent students." I can see he's on the verge of tears. I step forward immediately. "I believe him. He didn't do this. If he actually wanted to hurt people, he wouldn't have shoved me out of the way earlier. Someone else planted those bombs." Commissioner Chen's brow furrows, his mind working. Then, he speaks into his radio, voice firm and low. "All units, listen up. Emergency Command Authority is now elevated to maximum level. Bomb disposal unit at any cost, locate every single device in the shortest time possible. Technical investigation team, pull all surveillance footage from the library and surrounding areas. Going back 48 hours, go through every second of it. Simultaneously activate signal monitoring, scan for any unusual remote or timed signal sources. SWAT units, coordinate with faculty and campus security. Full evacuation and clearance of all campus personnel within 20 minutes. Establish 3 perimeter lines, no unauthorized entry or exit, period." With that string of commands, everyone moves at once. Emergency alarms blare across campus again. The live stream viewers are holding their breath. The viewer count keeps climbing. This school is absolutely terrifying. No, Liam is the terrifying one. Nothing is ever calm when he's involved. How is any of this Liam's fault? He's a victim too. He just happens to always be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Once the orders are in motion, Commissioner Chen makes a call. On the other end, Commander Lo, the one who came with General Han a few days ago. The moment he hears there's a bombing situation at the university, he says he's coming immediately with backup. Just then, someone runs in with a report. In the cafeteria, the academic building, and several other locations, 3 more bombs have been found. Surveillance footage shows no suspicious individuals. Every location where a device was planted is a blind spot in the camera coverage. Right at that moment, the reinforcements arrive. A convoy rolls to a clean stop at the outer perimeter. Commander Lu steps out, leading 2 rows of soldiers. Commissioner Chen goes straight to meet him and gives a quick briefing. Every device found so far has a highly complex structure and may be equipped with anti-tamper mechanisms. Commander Lu gives a slight nod. Effective immediately, bomb disposal and electronic surveillance are under our command. Your people handle the outer perimeter and intelligence support. Commissioner Chen nods without hesitation. Understood. With the bomb techs now in the mix, the pressure on the bomb disposal unit drops sharply. In under 30 minutes, 11 more timed devices are found. All sync to the same countdown, just over 1 hour left until detonation. Commander Lu's brow is tight. Keep searching. Find every single device. No exceptions. What's the assessment on the bombs? The lead bomb tech's expression falls. Commander, these devices are fitted with mercury tilt switches. The slightest tilt and they go off immediately. We can't move them into containment vessels or transport them for remote detonation. And on-site disarming carries an extremely high degree of difficulty. The bomb tech pulls up the structural diagram. The timer runs on a dual-circuit redundant design. Cut the primary circuit, and the backup circuit keeps running. The casing has an anti-tamper mechanism. Any improper opening or wrong cut could trigger immediate detonation. Dean Carter's voice trembles. "Is this campus really going to get blown up?" Right then, I step forward. I might be able to help. Every pair of eyes in the room snaps to me. Commissioner Chen is the first to speak. "Liam, don't. This is not the time to play hero." Commander Lu nods in agreement. "Liam, General Han specifically asked us to look out for you. Don't do anything reckless." Dean Carter grabs my arm and tries to pull me back. "This kid was taken hostage today. He's shaken up." I sigh. "I'm not joking. Did everyone forget about the wartime bomb and the nuclear device before that? When it comes to explosives, I'm a professional. and I can disarm every single one of these. 100%. Commander Lu's eyes narrow. Tell me exactly how you do it. I pick up the diagram. Look at this. See this thick red wire? Looks like the main power line, right? That's the first trap. Inside it there's a coil of memory alloy wire. The moment you cut the current, the alloy wire cools and contracts, and snaps the real safety fuse right next to it. I point to another section. And this capacitor bank that looks redundant, it's actually the key to triggering the oscillation circuit. If you cut the green clock signal line first, the stored charge floods straight into the detonator. The bomb tech zooms in on the diagram immediately, exactly as I described. He draws a sharp breath. The look he gives me is completely different now. Commander Lu leans in. So, what's the solution? I smile. Simple. We need to throw out conventional thinking. We don't cut any wires. Instead, we feed it. I point to the diagram again. See this parallel capacitor bank and the redundant circuit? Together they maintain a delicate, dangerous balance. All we need to do is tap into this node and feed it a high-precision regulated power supply, delivering far more stable current than the circuit actually needs. Once the external supply vastly exceeds the internal demand, both of these components go into protective shutdown from the overload. The entire circuit's sensitive trigger system temporarily shuts down. The timer stops. The anti-tamper signal monitoring goes haywire from the energy overflow, and that gives us a wide enough safe window to open the casing directly and remove the explosive charge and the detonator. The bomb tech stares at the diagram for a few seconds, then draws a sharp breath. Whoever built this thing never in a million years imagined someone would try to overfeed it. This approach has a very high chance of working. Commander Lu looks straight at me. What do you need? We will back you up completely. I point to the bomb tech. I need him as my assistant. The most precise disarming toolkit you have. And absolute silence. Commander Lu turns to the bomb tech immediately. You work with Liam. His safety is your priority. The livestream comment section has already exploded. I hate it. He's showing off again. We went through the same 9 years of compulsory education. Liam got the education. I just got the obligation. Under the gaze of everyone present, I walk with the bomb tech into the secured exclusion zone. We go to the nearest device first. I study it carefully for a moment, then I look at the bomb tech. Hold the casing steady for me. He moves in immediately, pressing both hands firmly against the device. I take the specialized fiber optic scope and carefully thread it through a preset gap in the casing, avoiding the internal laser sensor wires. Whoever built this was clever. They used a Russian nesting doll structure. The outer layer is a decoy parallel circuit. Cut any one of those wires wrong and it detonates on the spot. The actual core control unit is hidden inside an independent inner shielded enclosure. I pick up the cryogenic spray and freeze specific connection points on the casing. Then, with a precision micro grinder, I cut a micro-precision opening, measured in micrometers. These blue resistors form a false voltage distribution network. Following standard procedure and diverting current here triggers immediate detonation. I use an insulated probe to gently shift the wires aside, revealing the real critical component underneath, the bistable trigger. Here's the actual disarming sequence. First, use a microcurrent to short the trigger's reset terminal, hold it in a silent state. Then simultaneously cut these 3 gold data bus lines. The moment I finish saying it, I cut all 3 at once. The numbers on the timer freeze at 1 hour and 12 minutes. First device down, the bomb tech and I move to the cafeteria. The device here has a completely different design, but I disarm it in under a minute, then one after another, until the very last device is disarmed. The entire area erupts with deafening cheers and applause. Every soldier looks at me like I'm a hero. Dean Carter is the first to rush over, clapping me on the shoulder. Liam, I always knew you had it in you. This school is lucky to have you. Commissioner Chen laughs and nods. I genuinely did not see that coming from you, kid. With that kind of skill, you should be in the military. We'd make sure you went all the way to the top. Right, Commander Lu? Commander Lu smiles. With General Han vouching for you, and this level of skill, if you ever choose to serve, you'll go farther than I ever did. All the praise is getting to me. I scratch my head. I just got lucky. You're all way too kind. That gets a laugh from everyone. The livestream viewer count is still climbing. The comments are dripping with envy. Comparing yourself to this guy will just make you miserable. You can't call him a good student. He hasn't finished a single assignment, and he keeps causing chaos. But you can't call him a bad student either. His entire future is already paved for him. Actually, I feel like I'm doing all right in life. Got a Maybach, a little villa, 2 million in savings, and a wife who treats me great. Only problem is her son is 10 years older than me and refuses to call me dad. Police and military sweep the entire campus one final time, searching every corner, right down to the last 10 seconds on the countdown. No more devices are found. Everyone lets out a long, collective exhale. Commander Lu confirms with all units and officially declares the crisis over. Soldiers and officers embrace each other, overwhelmed with relief. Then, nobody knows who starts it. They lift me off the ground and throw me into the air. It takes Commander Lu stepping in before they finally set me down. Right then, an officer comes rushing over with a report. Commissioner Chen, 3 students in school uniforms have appeared in the academic building plaza. Each of them is holding a white plastic bucket. Their behavior is highly suspicious. We head to the plaza immediately. From a distance, we can already see the 3 students raising the buckets, about to pour them over their own heads. Several SWAT officers surge forward and tackle all 3 to the ground. When we get closer, a sharp smell of gasoline hits us. These 3 are far too suspicious to ignore. Could even be connected to the bombing. Dean Carter glares at them. Names. Which class? What exactly were you about to do? 2 of them stare at the sky in silence. Only one, the most timid of the 3, drops his head. My name is Wade. 2nd year, computer science, class 5. We were going to set ourselves on fire with the gasoline. Dean Carter's pupils contract sharply. You're so young, why would you take it this far? Wade bursts into tears. They talked me into it. I changed my mind. Please help me. The tall one stares daggers at him. Traitor. Officers immediately pull Wade away. Commissioner Chen looks him directly in the eyes. Are any of you connected to the bombs? Wade shakes his head quickly. We had nothing to do with the bombs. I met them in the packed group chat. Someone in the group started a challenge, and I just went along with it without thinking. But when it actually came to this, I was terrified. Commissioner Chen's expression hardens immediately. Show me that group chat, now. Wade pulls out his phone and opens the packed group chat, handing it over. After the tech team looks it over, they find members from all across the city, adults and students alike. The chat history is filled with hopeless suicidal content. It's not just people who are struggling, there are adults in there deliberately grooming and pushing them, sharing detailed methods in writing. Wade had only joined because of the pressure over his grades, pushed to a breaking point by his parents. A moment of despair, and he found himself in the group. Then, with multiple people egging him on, he joined the challenge. Only at the very last second did he pull back. After reading through the entire chat, everyone is outraged. Nobody expected this kind of evil to be hiding right there online. Commissioner Chen orders an immediate full investigation. Orders go out, and quickly, the identities of several people involved are confirmed. But the person who launched the self-immolation challenge can't be traced at all. Every piece of identity information is fake, and this person is most likely responsible for the bombing as well. With no leads, Commissioner Chen orders the group admin brought in for questioning. According to the admin, the person who launched the challenge had paid him to help spread the content pushing people toward suicide. The money was left at a designated location for him to collect, so he had no idea who he was actually dealing with. But every time he picked up the money, there was a strange smell on the bills. Acidic, metallic, like rust and corrosion. And just like that, the investigation hits another dead end. Just then, I step forward. Commander Liu, Commissioner Chen, I think I can find this guy. That mix of sharp acid and corroded metal points straight to an acid wash metal recycling operation. We're looking at a fairly large-scale scrap processing facility, and whoever it is clearly knows this campus well, which means they're probably not far from here. The moment I finish, Commissioner Chen orders an immediate sweep of every scrapyard in the area. The police move fast. Within minutes, they zero in on a scrap facility about 3 miles out. Chen leads the team there himself. I'm cleared to ride along as the key analyst. Commander Liu stays behind to hold down the school. 10 minutes later, the cars pull up in front of a crumbling, run-down yard. The moment we step out, it hits us. That same sharp acid mixed with the stench of corroded metal. My hunch was right. On Chen's order, officers flood into the facility in one clean wave. But after a thorough sweep, there's no one, not a soul. Then an officer comes sprinting back. He reports to Commissioner Chen, there's a sign planted in the dirt in the middle of the yard. It reads, "Surprise." We head straight in. That's when I notice it. The soil beneath the sign is cracked. I pry away a chunk of dried dirt and there it is, a timer display buried underneath. 2 minutes on the clock. At the same moment, the system panel flashes up in front of me. Player is in critical danger. Over 3 tons of explosives detected underground. World War II-era munitions, buried here by the yard's owner. I spin around and wave everyone back, screaming, "There's a bomb underground, less than 2 minutes." Chen doesn't hesitate. Everyone is ordered to clear the blast radius immediately. They pile into the vehicles, and the drivers floor it. We're barely 500 meters out when the scrapyard behind us erupts in a chain of explosions. The shockwave rips outward in every direction, a full chain reaction completely unleashed. Every buried shell ignites at once. The ground of the scrapyard is torn apart, flames swallowing the entire facility in seconds. A thick black pillar of smoke punches straight into the sky. The police cars keep tearing down the road. The blasts are still going off behind us. By now, the scrapyard is completely swallowed by fire and smoke. 2 kilometers out, the explosions fade into scattered, distant pops. Chen confirms it's safe and orders the convoy to stop. He steps out and stares back toward the yard, letting out a sharp, slow breath. Then he turns and looks at me. How is it that everywhere you go, something blows up? I roll my eyes. What does that have to do with me? I didn't bury the bombs. 10 minutes later, the last explosion dies out. Chen orders us back to the site. Stay sharp on the way in. Watch for unexploded ordnance and unstable structures. The convoy rolls out again. The scene along the way is devastating. When we reach what used to be the entrance to the scrapyard, the entire facility has been reduced to a massive scorched crater. The whole area is dead silent. Nothing left but ash drifting on the wind. Chen steps out, scans the area, and issues a string of orders. Get the EOD unit in here for a full sweep. Brief the fire department on the full scope of the explosion. Tech team, pull everything on the scrapyard owner. Immediately. Once the site is cleared, move in and collect evidence. Alert all units. Lock down every highway exit in West Sea City, every major road, high-speed rail station, and airport. Full sweep. That suspect does not get away. Everyone responds in unison. Just then, I take a step forward. Commissioner, we can confirm the school bombing was this guy's work, but I don't think he's running. You remember that sign? He knew we were coming. He set those bombs in advance just for us. Anyone willing to blow up cops has already stopped caring whether he lives or dies. Factor in his pattern of behavior. This looks more like someone out to destroy everything around him. If I were him, I wouldn't run. Not now. The words barely leave my mouth before Chen's eyes go sharp. You mean the students? The ones evacuated to the park? I nod. Exactly. That park is chaos right now. Thousands of students packed into one place. For someone who wants maximum destruction, it's a perfect opportunity. Chen goes pale. A chill runs straight through him. He's already on the radio to Commander Liu and the command center, calling for the highest alert level. Then he turns to the team. Everyone, West Mountain Park now. Any suspicious individual gets taken down on sight. Everyone scrambles into the vehicles. On the way there, Chen fires off orders over the radio non-stop. Get traffic control to open an emergency corridor. Contact Dean Carter. Keep the students calm. Any suspicious activity reported immediately. By the time we reach the park, Commander Liu already has his team running sweeps. But right now, the tens of thousands of students here look completely at ease. Hanging out in small groups, laughing and messing around. The whole place is buzzing with noise. Then, a scream cuts through the crowd. Officers tackle a man to the ground. A janitor-looking guy who was just sweeping nearby. They yank open his jacket, and there, strapped to his body, are multiple C4 explosives. Students nearby erupt in screams. Chen immediately calls in the bomb disposal unit. Reports start flooding in all at once. East side, a suspect disguised as a gardener caught in the bushes. Homemade grenades found on him. West side, near the restrooms, a suspect with flammable materials and a remote detonator taken into custody. North side parking lot, an unlicensed van packed with explosive materials and tools. The suspect resisted arrest and was shot and subdued. 4 attackers pulled out in total, and one of them is the junkyard boss himself. Just like I thought, he didn't run. He came here instead, hiding among the crowd at the park. Fortunately, security here was tight enough to keep strangers away from the students, and they never got the chance to detonate anything. Teachers and armed officers quickly herd the students toward open ground. A wave of panic spreads through the crowd. Commissioner Chen and Commander Liu stand by the command vehicle, faces stone cold as they watch the chaos unfold. 2 hours later, after multiple rounds of thorough sweeps, they confirm there are no more threats. Commissioner Chen picks up the radio. All units assist school staff in organizing an orderly return to campus. Stay alert the entire time. On that order, teachers start forming the students into lines. Soldiers and officers form a protective ring around them, guiding everyone toward the exits. That's when my eyes lock on a woman in the crowd. It's Aunt May, the lunch lady from the school cafeteria. She's known for her steady hand with the ladle. Students always line up for her. Right now she's laughing and chatting with the kids, looking as warm and friendly as ever. But I'm the only one who knows she's carrying C4 explosives. The detonator is in her right pocket. One press of that hand still buried in her pocket, and everyone within 50 feet is gone. Anyone within 160 feet will be injured. Ice floods through me from head to toe. This sweet, harmless-looking woman is the most deeply hidden threat of all. She's standing right at the junction where several student lines converge. There's no time to call it in. That bomb could go off any second. She's waiting for the moment the crowd is dense enough to maximize casualties, and that moment is also my only window. I keep my face completely neutral and pick up my pace. I stop just a few steps away from her. Aunt May blinks, clearly caught off guard. Then she recognizes me, and her face lights up. "Liam, you must have been so scared, honey. Come back and I'll give you an extra big serving." I walk right up to her, flashing the most harmless smile I can manage. "Sounds great." Then I move. I shift my weight to the side, my left hand shooting toward her right. In an instant, I knock her wrist joint out of socket. She lets out a sharp, cut-off cry of pain. Her right hand goes completely limp. At the same moment, my right hand clamps around her throat and I slam her hard into the ground. She drops like a sack of bricks, eyes rolling back, completely out cold. It all happens so fast that every student and teacher nearby just freezes. Dead silence falls over the scene. Then someone screams, "Liam, what are you doing?" Commissioner Chen reacts first. He barks out orders, "Secure the area, restrain the suspect." He charges in with a tactical unit right behind him. 2 officers immediately cuff Aunt May's hands behind her back. A female officer pulls open her jacket, and there it is. C4 explosives wrapped around her waist and stomach. A collective gasp rips through the crowd. Everyone understands in an instant. This sweet, harmless lunch lady was the one who slipped through. The students who were just joking around with her go pale. Every look they give me is filled with gratitude. Commissioner Chen walks over, expression grave. "Liam, how did you spot her?" I glance at Aunt May, my heart still hammering. Her right hand never came out of her pocket. Way too suspicious. Chen nods slowly. "That was way too close. Good thing you caught it in time." He immediately orders another full search. This time, even the students are included. Fortunately, no one else is found carrying explosives. And just like that, this massive campus attack finally comes to an end. Commander Liu takes his soldiers back to base. Commissioner Chen escorts all the suspects back to the station. I go along as a key witness to give my statement. Interrogations begin at the same time. The full picture comes together quickly. This was an extreme anti-society group led by the junkyard boss. Their target was Westshore University. They had infiltrated suicide pact groups online to manipulate vulnerable students. The original plan was to combine bombings with student suicides to create a massive, terrifying spectacle. But when the man who kidnapped me accidentally set off a bomb early, it threw everything off. So they regrouped, set a trap at the scrapyard, then went underground at the park to target the evacuated students. But every single threat was neutralized in time. Every person involved is now in custody. The law will deal with them. After giving my statement, Commissioner Chen personally drives me back to campus. Dean Carter and the school leadership are already waiting at the gate. After a brief exchange, I finally make it back to my dorm. That night, lying in bed, I pull up the system and use both my skill draws back to back. 2 draws spent, and I get pressure point mastery and excavator operation. I just stare at the screen. The last skills I got, I used the very next day. What exactly am I supposed to do with these 2? The next morning, I've barely walked into the cafeteria when the system chimes in. 2 new school rules detected. 2 skill draws awarded. On the cafeteria notice board, 2 brand new rules have been posted. Rule 1. Students are prohibited from entering the school broadcast room alone. Rule 2. Students are prohibited from pursuing romantic relationships with cafeteria staff. The first one makes sense. The second one stops me cold. What does that have to do with me? I piece it together from what other students are saying. Aunt May, the one who was hiding among them yesterday, had apparently been getting cozy with multiple male students at the same time. And yet, who could have guessed? She turned out to be a terrorist. I make a face when I hear this. That's wilder than any fairy tale romance I've ever heard. The livestream chat has completely lost it. The viewer count just keeps climbing. Absolute legend. Passed on every girl his own age and went for the lunch lady. Dating the cafeteria staff. Solves being single and the meal plan problem. Genius move, honestly. Next to that, there's another notice. It's the outcome of Leo's bullying case. The homeroom teacher has had his teaching license revoked and is under arrest. Every student involved in the bullying has been taken in for questioning. They're all legal adults. They will be held fully accountable. The school has also launched a campus-wide review of bullying incidents to make sure nothing like this ever happens again. As for the man who kidnapped me, his actions caused serious harm, but he also accidentally helped us. In the end, the two cancel out. He's released. After breakfast, I head to Professor Lee's office. The second I walk in, something comes flying at my head. I dodge sideways just in time, and it smacks Marcus right in the face behind me. Professor Lee glares at me. Zero patience. Didn't someone say I was going through menopause? And now you want to find me a female student? My face goes stiff. Professor, everything I do is for the good of this lab. Bringing in fresh talent is how we grow. Professor Lee is speechless for a moment, then just waves me off. You always have an answer for everything. Here's your new assignment. Go to the lab, pull a lake sediment rock sample, and reconstruct and analyze its ancient environmental odor profile. My expression drops. Seriously, Professor? Can we do something else? The smell from that stuff is absolutely unbearable. Professor Lee fixes me with a hard stare. Stop obsessing over visual reconstruction. Scent is the chemical fingerprint of an ecosystem. Less talking. Get out. I walk out of the office looking like I could wring misery out of thin air. Marcus sidles up, curious. What's the assignment? You look like you're being sent to your execution. I give him a look. Ancient ecosystem reconstruction. Sounds impressive, right? Call it science if you want, but what it really means is cooking 10,000-year-old stench out of a rock. I groan and drag myself toward the paleontology lab. I push the door open, immediately firing up the ventilation hood and the sealed heating unit. Then I pull out a gas mask and strap it on. Only then do I carefully take out the lake sediment rock sample. Marcus stares at me, completely thrown. What kind of experiment needs all this? You're scaring me. I toss him a gas mask. Put this on. You'll understand in a minute. He doesn't ask any more questions, just puts it on fast. I start up the instrument and begin heating the sample. The temperature climbs slowly. When it hits the critical threshold, the reaction chamber lets out a soft pfft. Then a yellowish-green cloud of vapor billows out. Even with the powerful ventilation running, a wisp of it still escapes into the room. This smell is like a chemical weapon in gas form. Worse than hydrogen sulfide. Worse than rotting flesh. It cuts through everything. Marcus lets out a gagging noise. Oh my God. What is that smell? Even the gas mask isn't stopping it. I sigh. Be grateful. I used to do this without any mask at all. Now that was a whole experience. Marcus had thought I was exaggerating. Now he gets it. Nothing in this world comes close to this smell. As the experiment continues, more fumes pour out. The entire lab fills with thick yellow haze. Soon gagging sounds drift in from the hallway. Then the cursing starts. A wave of it. It's the paleontology lab. It's that walking disaster, Liam. Before long, someone pounds on the lab door. It's old George, the building manager, shouting from outside. Liam, are you cooking up a bioweapon in there? You've turned the entire building into a pickle jar. I hear him and open the door. A massive cloud of yellow smoke instantly billows out, nearly knocking old George off his feet. George, this is legitimate research. He hops back, furious. Legitimate my foot. You've got 5 minutes. Pack up that equipment and get out. You are not welcome in this lab. I look out at the chaos in the hallway, the crowd of people shooting me murderous looks. With no other choice, I gather up the whole setup and, under the stares of every student and staff member in the building, shuffle out of the building with my tail between my legs. The livestream viewer count goes through the roof. The chat is in absolute hysterics. I can smell it through the screen. That's nastier than sewage soup. That's literally a bioweapon. The two of us in gas masks stick out like a sore thumb. Every student who catches even a whiff clamps their nose and runs. The lab is out. Everywhere else is off limits too. So we end up at the empty field on the sports ground, the one with the old air raid shelter. But we've barely set up the equipment when the workers nearby can't take it anymore. They throw down their tools and bolt. They're barely gone when students passing by on their way to class get hit by the smell. They curse under their breath and scatter in every direction. I keep my eyes on the experiment. Almost done. I let out a long, relieved breath. Finally, almost over. But before I can relax, Dean Carter comes rushing onto the field with Professor Lee and the others in tow, all in a hurry. Dean Carter opens his mouth to speak, then immediately claps his hand over it, gagging. The smell hits him like a wall. Professor Lee covers her face, expression twisted. Dean Carter fights down the urge to throw up and points at me, furious. Liam, stop this right now. I stare at him, confused. What's wrong? Dean Carter, Professor Lee assigned this to me herself. The second I say that, Professor Lee takes a very deliberate step backward. The vice dean pinches his nose. Do you have any idea? Students are having hallucinations from this gas. Stop the experiment. I'm genuinely confused. Come on, that can't be right. It's just a bad smell. Just then, the security chief breaks into a strange, unsettling laugh. Then he wraps his arms around a twisted little tree nearby and starts rubbing his cheek against the bark. Don't leave me. I promise I'll never yell at you again. I stare. Is he in love with a tree? Then Dean Carter starts acting strange too. He strikes a little girl pose and looks around at everyone. Am I cute? My stomach drops. They're actually poisoned. Professor Lee sees what's happening and quickly backs away several dozen meters. Liam, what on earth is in that thing? She's already pulling out her phone to call the school nurse. I hold up my hands. I haven't done anything different. Same experiment I always do. Then why is Dean Carter hallucinating? I frown. You've got to be wrong. If my experiment were toxic enough for that, everyone in the lab building would already be affected. Don't believe me? Call and check. Professor Lee dials immediately. Old George picks up, cursing a blue streak as usual. Not a single sign of poisoning. Everyone in the lab is perfectly fine. I spread my hands. See? It's definitely not my experiment. The school nurse arrives and holds something sharp-smelling under Dean Carter and the security chief's noses. Within moments, both of them snap back to their senses. Professor Lee immediately runs through everything with Dean Carter, point by point. The dean furrows his brow. So you're saying Liam's experiment isn't what caused the poisoning? But I clearly started hallucinating right after I smelled it. My eyes sweep across the surrounding area. The overgrown grass, the old slope, the scattered construction materials, everything looks normal. Then suddenly, my gaze locks on the exact spot where Dean Carter was standing. There's a sewer manhole cover right there. Right at that moment, the system panel pops up. High concentration of hydrogen sulfide detected. Origin located, municipal sewer manhole 22 feet ahead. Drainage channel blocked. Hydrogen sulfide leaking through the gaps. Danger level extreme. Mild exposure causes vivid hallucinations. Severe exposure causes sudden collapse or rapid death. Current concentration above the leak point has already reached moderate poisoning levels. It clicks instantly. It wasn't my experiment at all. They just happened to wander near the manhole and breathed in the gas leaking from the sewer. Good thing Marcus and I had our gas masks on. Otherwise, we'd have been hit too. Hydrogen sulfide is lethally toxic. The concentration down in that pipe. One breath and you're done. Just thinking about it makes me shudder. I spin around and wave urgently. Everyone, do not go near that manhole cover. I think that's what's causing the poisoning. The whole group goes still. I wave them back again, directing everyone to move to the side. It wasn't my experiment that made anyone sick. Professor Lee can back me up. She was watching the whole time. Professor Lee nods right away. He was running the experiment the entire time, yes. I spread my hands. There you go. Nothing to do with me. You can still smell my experiment right now and none of you are hallucinating, are you? Every person who got affected walked down that same path, not near my equipment. If you want to know why, just have someone from the chemistry department come test the air. That'll settle it. Dean Carter turns to the vice dean. Get Professor Wang from the chemistry department. Bring a detector over here right now. The vice dean makes the call immediately. Minutes later, Professor Wang arrives with 2 students, hauling the testing equipment at a jog. They strap on gas masks and first test the air around my setup from a safe distance. Professor Wang studies the readings. Mainly organic sulfur compounds, trace ammonia, toxicity is low. Then, following my direction, he moves toward the path. The moment the detector gets close, it starts alarming. When the probe nears the gap in the manhole cover, the numbers spike. The alarm becomes sharp and frantic. Professor Wang goes white. His voice cracks. Oh my, it's hydrogen sulfide. Everyone back. This concentration can kill you. It causes severe hallucinations and can trigger sudden collapse. Everyone scrambles backward. Professor Lee is backing up and waving at me at the same time. What are you standing there for? I gesture helplessly at my equipment. But the experiment is almost done. Professor Lee stomps her foot. Are you serious right now? Your life or your experiment? Which matters more? Get over here. I give up and shut everything down, then head over. Marcus sidles up, still shaken. That was way too close. If we hadn't had those gas masks on, we'd probably be dead right now. Dean Carter acts immediately. He orders the Environmental Protection Agency and Emergency Management to be notified, clear everyone from this area right now, and keep all students back. Then he turns to Professor Wang. How did this happen? Professor Wang thinks for a moment. Hydrogen sulfide is colorless. It has a rotten egg smell. Under normal circumstances, you'd notice it immediately. But today, Liam's experiment produced such an overwhelming odor that it completely masked the sulfide. Dean Carter nods slowly. Ah, that explains it. I quietly inch behind Professor Lee, very quietly. About 15 minutes later, vehicles from the Environmental Monitoring Center and the fire department pull up. Workers quickly set up a perimeter and push back any students who've gathered to watch. Technicians slide a sampling tube into the gap of the manhole cover. The instrument screen goes wild immediately. A technician's voice comes through the mask. Confirmed hydrogen sulfide, peak reading. Over 1,000 parts per million. At this concentration, a few breaths is enough to cause instant unconsciousness and respiratory paralysis. The only sound on site is the screaming of the detector. Then the technician adds, and that's not all. We're also detecting methane. Concentration has hit the lower explosive limit. This is a flammable, explosive, toxic gas environment. All non-explosion-proof equipment must be kept away from the manhole. No open flames under any circumstances. The moment he says it, everyone instinctively turns and looks at me. Dean Carter's head just drops. He looks absolutely defeated. Professor Lee quickly turns to the technician. How is this gas leaking from here? Before he can answer, I step forward. It's actually pretty simple. Sewers run in every direction underground. Normally toxic gases have somewhere to go and just disperse, but this particular line got blocked during the civil defense construction nearby. The gas has nowhere to escape, so it's pushing up through here. I barely finish speaking when a technician snaps to attention, staring at his instrument. The background hydrogen sulfide reading contains an abnormally high concentration of a signature pollutant, copper ion aerosol. Professor Wang sucks in a sharp breath. From what I know, the electronics factory next door uses copper sulfate. Their wastewater would be loaded with copper ions, and that stuff is a highly efficient catalyst for converting organic matter into hydrogen sulfide. The experts just said there are copper ions in the sewer. The only source I can think of is that factory. Could they be connected? Dean Carter's expression shifts immediately. That electronics plant and our school are separated by a 10-lane road. A facility that size, they should have proper wastewater treatment. They shouldn't be dumping into the municipal sewer. Could there have been an accident? He turns to the environmental team leader. Can you run a test? Check the gas concentration in the sewer all the way from the school toward the factory. The team moves immediately. Sure enough, the closer they get to the factory, the higher the hydrogen sulfide concentration and copper ion levels in the water climb. Fortunately, the two manholes along the route had no one near them. Otherwise, the consequences would have been far worse than just hallucinations. The environmental team leader's expression hardens. He decides on the spot to go into the factory and investigate. Dean Carter doesn't hesitate either. He leaves the vice dean to handle things here and crosses the road with me and the others. When we reach the factory entrance, the security guard sees our group coming and moves to block us. Dean Carter steps forward. I'm the dean of Westshore University. These are environmental protection officials. We have an urgent situation and need to speak to your management immediately. The guard rushes inside to report. A few minutes later, a middle-aged man in a suit comes jogging out. Dean Carter, good to meet you. I'm Deputy Liu, the factory's vice general manager. What's happened? The environmental team leader gives him a quick but clear summary. Deputy Liu's face goes pale instantly. That can't be right. Yes, we use copper sulfate in the etching workshop and it does produce that type of wastewater, but we have a complete treatment process in place. Let me take you to see it. He leads us straight into the facility. We pass through several workshops and reach the etching floor. The moment we walk in, a sharp chemical smell hits us. Copper sulfate mixed with hydrochloric acid. Technicians immediately check all the main drainage points and pipe connections. No obvious leaks found. While everyone stands there puzzled, I crouch down and run a fingertip across an inconspicuous wet patch on the floor. I lift it up. A faint blue-green smear on my fingertip. I stand up. Deputy Liu, was the wastewater treatment station built at the same time as the etching workshop, or was it added later? Deputy Liu pauses. The treatment station came later, 2 or 3 years after the workshop. Why? I immediately frown. That means the original drainage layout and the current one might not match. Deputy Liu's forehead breaks into a sweat. The piping was definitely modified during the expansion. I point to the trail of blue-green marks on the floor. It winds toward an old floor drain in the corner of the workshop. If the pipe renovation wasn't thorough, there could still be a few old outlets running directly into the municipal sewer, especially when production pressure is high and wastewater flow spikes. Could the pipe pressure be forcing wastewater back through those abandoned outlets? The environmental team leader's expression shifts. Go to the wastewater treatment station. Check the inflow volume against the actual process volume. Do the numbers add up? The whole group moves fast. They rush to the wastewater treatment station. The station manager pulls up today's operational data. Today's inflow is nearly 40% above normal. The treatment system has been running at full capacity. Before anyone can respond, a technician at the control panel calls out, "Wait, the pH readings in the neutralization tank are off. A large volume of under-neutralized acidic copper wastewater is backing up in the pipes." The truth is finally out. Deputy Liu's face drains of color. "Why is this only being discovered now? Shut everything down! Immediately!" The station manager kills all the machines on the spot. The etching workshop goes quiet too. The sharp smell fades almost instantly. Deputy Liu slumps to the floor, completely drained. The environmental team leader's face goes hard. "Lock down the entire facility. Get the emergency response team in here. Full inspection. Every pipe sealed and checked." Just then I walk over to Deputy Liu. "Does your sewer system run through the whole factory?" Deputy Liu stares blankly and nods. "Yeah, why?" My expression tightens. "Then the ground beneath this entire factory is basically one giant toxic chamber right now, and there's methane building up in there too." The words hit the room like a slap. Deputy Liu freezes. Dean Carter and Professor Lee stare at each other. Right, how did we forget that? There was that incident where kids dropped firecrackers into a methane-filled manhole and blew a mock ring into the air, took out every car in the vicinity, and that was just one manhole. This is an entire factory's worth. If someone so much as flicked a cigarette butt down here, the consequences would be unthinkable. The thought hits everyone at the same time. Every face in the room changes. Dean Carter grabs his phone and calls the vice dean immediately. "Get an excavator over there. Seal every manhole cover connecting to the school. Now." Deputy Liu stares into nothing, completely zoned out. The live stream viewer count is shooting up. The chat absolutely explodes. Someone give this guy the nickname Explosion King. Everywhere he goes, something blows up. Send him to study abroad. He'd level the place. Now I understand why firefighters have such a dangerous job. The real danger isn't the fire, it's toxic gas explosions. Good thing they caught it early. Otherwise, Westshore University would have been all over the news again tomorrow. At least this time it's the neighbors. After a long while, Deputy Liu finally comes back to reality. Hands shaking, he calls the chairman to report everything. There's a long pause, then a roar from the other end. "Are you trying to kill me? Evacuate every single worker right now, then call the police. I'm on my way." Deputy Liu hangs up and immediately passes the orders down the line. Moments later, alarms blare across the entire facility. The intercom keeps repeating the emergency evacuation order. Workers pour toward the exits in a panic, but at the worst possible moment, frantic screams erupt from the direction of the dormitory building. "Help! People are collapsing in the dorms." Deputy Liu's face goes white. He takes off running toward the dormitories. I catch Dean Carter's eye. We follow right behind. The moment we reach the base of the dorm building, an overwhelming rotten egg stench hits us head on. Everyone instinctively steps back. Several workers in uniforms are frantically pounding on the dorm doors. "My roommate's still in there. He's not not picking up. My husband worked the night shift. He must be asleep in there. Knocking, calling, nothing. The security chief arrives with door-breaking tools and forces one door open. A worker is slumped on the floor, lips and face a dark bluish-purple, completely unconscious. Rescue teams immediately split up and start forcing their way into room after room. Dean Carter and the others look on in horror. So many people down. I work it out quickly. The dorm drainage pipes must connect directly to the sewer line. The toxic gas in the factory had nowhere to go, so it traveled back up through the pipes. Look, every victim is on the 3rd floor or below, and every door and window in those rooms was sealed shut. Everyone finally understands. And as more and more doors are forced open, the number of casualties keeps climbing. The hallway is filled with workers collapsed in every direction. Over a dozen unconscious bodies scattered across the floor. Just then, fire trucks, ambulances, police cars, and hazmat vehicles come rolling in one after another. Paramedics rush to carry the unconscious workers out for emergency treatment. Firefighters establish a safety perimeter. The hazmat team and engineering unit move quickly into position. Over an hour later, the toxic gas in the sewer system is fully brought under control. Environmental testing confirms methane is below the explosive threshold, and hydrogen sulfide levels are within safe limits. Everyone lets out a long, heavy breath. During this time, the chairman arrives. He exchanges a few words with Dean Carter. Then the moment he hears I was the one who found the problem, he walks straight over with a big smile. Young man, I can't thank you enough for today. I smile back. You're too kind, Chairman. He claps a hand on my shoulder. You called me Chairman, so I'll make you a promise right now. When you graduate, come work for me. I'll set you up with a good position. Manager. How does that sound? Before I can decline, Dean Carter cuts in with a grin. A manager position? He wouldn't even bother. Commissioner Chen personally asked him to join the police force. He said no. A top military commander asked him to enlist. He turned that down too. Unless you're handing over the chairman's seat, I'll turn you down on his behalf. The chairman looks over at Dean Carter. I hear the school has been raising funds to rebuild the sports field. I'll donate $10 million from the company. And personally, I'd like to give Liam $100,000 as a token of my gratitude. The second we hear that, my smile and Dean Carter's both stretch wide at exactly the same moment. We step forward and sink, one on each side, and grab his hands. Thank you, Chairman. You're a good man. Even Dean Carter himself is taken aback by how fast he moved. After more small talk, the environmental monitoring vehicle releases its final report. Hydrogen sulfide concentration in the facility and surrounding sewer system has dropped below 10 parts per million. Methane is below the explosive threshold. All indicators meet safety standards. Fire trucks and rescue vehicles begin pulling away one by one. Everything seems to finally be settling down. But just as the environmental team wraps up their final checks and prepares to leave, the expert monitoring sewer gas readings snaps to attention. Team leader, the instruments are showing hydrogen sulfide and methane levels rising rapidly. Confirmed. This is not residual gas dispersal. Based on readings across multiple points, the primary source of the surge is coming from that direction. He points toward the main sewer line running beyond the factory perimeter, stretching into the distance. Every eye follows his finger. The chairman goes pale. So it's not coming from our factory. The environmental team leader issues the order immediately. Begin tracking. Deploy the pipe endoscope and remote gas sampling equipment. Move. Technicians lay out the lines as they go, tracing back along the main sewer trunk thick with the stench of rot. As early discoverers of the incident, Dean Carter and I are allowed to follow at a safe distance behind the team. The footage coming back from the endoscope is deeply unsettling. The pipe walls are caked in thick, greasy buildup. Debris is wedged in everywhere. Then the operator up front lets out a low sound. The pipe ahead looks blocked. On the control terminal screen, a massive gray-white mass, nearly sealing the pipe completely. It seems almost alive. A strange, slow pulsing movement across its surface. Look closer and you realize gas is constantly being produced inside it, bubbles rolling and bursting across the thick, viscous surface. What makes it even more horrifying, this massive mass has a surface temperature of over 86 degrees Fahrenheit. At the same moment, a system alert appears in front of me. Giant fatberg detected, in active fermentation phase, extremely high danger, internal structure unstable, violent physical disturbance or external ignition could trigger large-scale methane explosion or instant toxic gas release. Recommendation, controlled incineration. I let out a slow, sharp breath. A fatberg. The environmental team leader looks over at me, surprised. You actually know what that is? I nod. Saw it in a documentary. A fatberg forms when cooking grease from restaurants combines with improperly discarded solid waste. It hardens into a massive congealed block. The sewage in the pipe is in an anaerobic environment. Specific sulfate-reducing bacteria break down the organic matter and produce large amounts of hydrogen sulfide. Then the factory's copper ion acidic wastewater, which accidentally ended up here, became the perfect catalyst for the reaction, massively accelerating hydrogen sulfide production. Now the factory is shut down, cutting off the copper ion source, and firefighters kept drawing out the gas, so production slowed for a while, couldn't keep up with extraction, but a massive amount of copper sulfate wastewater had already reacted with the fatberg. Even without further discharge, it won't stop releasing toxic gas and methane. It was fermenting slowly before, but all that copper sulfate wastewater fully activated it. Now it's running at full speed. Everyone stares at me in stunned silence. The chairman stumbles back a step, nearly fainting. So what do we do now? Does the factory stay shut until this is dealt with? The team leader nods. I've dealt with plenty of blockages, but nothing this large or this active. We'll need the fire department involved to work out a solution. He makes a call. Shortly after, the fire crew that had just returned to base comes rushing back. To get a clearer picture of the fatberg, firefighters suit up in full protective gear and go directly into the sewer to assess it. No hesitation. When everyone sees the fatberg through the live feed, the color drains from every face in the room. The chairman can't hold it together. He throws up on the spot. At the makeshift command post, the environmental team leader and fire department experts argue furiously over the sewer map. One expert jabs the diagram. I recommend bringing in large refrigeration units and injecting liquid nitrogen to force the temperature down. Another immediately waves him off. No, a sudden temperature drop will crack the outer shell, releasing everything at once. That's basically detonating it. The fire chief taps the map, then use a high-pressure water cannon to break it apart remotely combined with high-powered suction equipment. The environmental team leader wipes the sweat from his brow. Even more dangerous, the impact from the water cannon alone could set it off. And once it breaks apart, that massive contamination source will clog every pipe downstream. Toxic mist and flammable gas would flood the entire sewer system. The consequences would be catastrophic. Proposal after proposal gets raised and shot down. Just as everyone hits a dead end, I clear my throat. If you ask me, just burn it. The room goes dead silent. Every head turns toward me. The fire chief stares. Burn it? Are you out of your mind? Do you have any idea how much methane is in there? One spark and you blow the entire street sky high. The team leader and the other experts frown in unison. I just smile calmly. I know exactly what the risk is. That's precisely why I'm saying burn it. This fatberg is essentially a runaway chemical reactor. The danger comes from methane building up with nowhere to go. Every safe option we've discussed is just trying to manage a bomb that's about to go off. The process is slow. Too many variables. Any single mistake could trigger an early detonation. So why not change our thinking entirely? Under fully controlled conditions, we actively light the fuse ourselves and turn this unpredictable time bomb into a single, directed, controlled energy release. He picks up a pen and quickly sketches a diagram on the map. We cut a pressure relief vent at a safe distance downstream, then install heat-resistant guide pipes and a custom combustion nozzle. We inject precisely measured pure oxygen directly into the fatberg and mix it with the methane it's already producing, creating an optimal combustion ratio. Then we run a heat-resistant ceramic tube and feed a specialized electric igniter precisely into the designated combustion chamber. Once ignited, the flame and hot gases travel along the preset guide pipe and vent through the pressure relief outlet, forming one steady, controlled megatorch. I set down the pen. In short, we're not blowing it up. We're giving it a furnace we designed and letting it burn itself out, steadily and completely. The fire chief stares hard at the diagram, mentally running through every step at speed. The team leader steps forward, theoretically viable. The key is controlling the mixed gas concentration and ensuring the pressure relief channel stays completely clear. If it works, this doesn't just solve the crisis, it converts all the pollution into harmless carbon dioxide and water. The fire chief slams the table. Let's do it. He looks at me. Kid, I underestimated you. I'll give you that. Professor Lee pulls me aside. How do you even know all this? I grin. Anything involving explosions. I know a little something about it. Professor Lee nods slowly. Is that so? Next time I study volcanic sediment rock, you're coming with me. I stare at her. Isn't that a bit of a rash decision? Once the plan is confirmed, the fire chief immediately orders all teams to begin preparations following my approach. Commands go out one after another. The entire rescue operation kicks back into high gear. Time ticks by second. When all preparations are complete, the fire chief picks up the dedicated channel radio. All teams stand by. We are now entering the execution phase. Far away, the operator presses the red button with full force. I feel the ground shudder beneath my feet. At the downstream pressure relief vent, a burst of orange-red fire erupts. On the environmental monitoring screen, the red curve for hydrogen sulfide concentration plummets. The green curve for carbon dioxide and water climbs steadily. Watching this unfold, I feel the tension ease from my chest. The controlled burn is working. The fire chief exhales a long, heavy breath and turns to me, extending his hand with full solemnity. Liam, on behalf of every person on this rescue team, I thank you. What you contributed today cannot be replaced. I reach out and shake his hand firmly. You're too kind. So, is there a reward? The fire chief laughs immediately. Absolutely. I'll have someone come to the school and present you with an award, along with a $3,000 academic scholarship. I scratch my head. The award ceremony? Can we skip that? Can I just take the cash instead? Dean Carter's face twitches. Liam, this is an honor from the fire department. You can't put a price on that. Accept the award, and I'll personally give you $5,000. I immediately agree with a grin. Now that works for me. Just then the environmental team leader frowns. A fatberg this large doesn't come from nowhere. We need to find the source. Organize a surprise inspection of every factory around the discovery site. Check all discharge records. The order goes out. The joint inspection team moves immediately. Half an hour later, someone comes back with a report. Inside an abandoned factory a few hundred meters away, fresh tire tracks and shattered plastic drums have been found. Lights can be seen flickering inside. The sound of machinery hums from deep in the building. The inspection team immediately seals all exits and moves in. About 100 meters inside, they find a hidden operation. The workshop door is pushed open. Several crude production lines are running. Thick, viscous liquid bubbles in open heating vats. workers are dumping what looks like food waste and kitchen scraps into the pools. After basic heat separation, the clear oil on top is siphoned off and barreled. The black sludge and wastewater left behind are drained directly through a hidden hose in the corner and into a hole cut into the floor, straight into the sewer. This is an illegal gutter oil processing den. Enforcement officers rush in and take everyone into custody. After initial questioning, the picture becomes clear. This operation had been collecting waste oil at night, buying it cheap from restaurants and cafeterias, even dredging it from the sewer, then refining it into low-grade cooking oil to sell for profit. The toxic sludge and wastewater produced in the process were dumped straight into the municipal sewer. Over time, all that grease and organic waste, in exactly the right conditions, had congealed into the massive fatberg. And with that, the entire incident, which began with toxic gas seeping out of a school sewer, is officially closed. The environmental officers and police say their goodbyes and clear out. Dean Carter and I head back to campus. Just before we leave, Professor Lee calls out to me. Liam, tomorrow's Saturday. If you're free, why not do a self-directed internship? She pulls out her phone and opens her contacts. This is Kyle. He graduated a couple of years ahead of you. He's doing well for himself. Works at a research institute called the Get Rich Quick Institute. I've already given him a heads up about you. Save the number. Just go find him tomorrow. I stare at her. The Get Rich Quick Institute? I've never heard of any research institute with a name like that. Is it even legitimate? Professor Lee waves me off. Who cares what it's called? Just go. As a favor to me, he'll look out for you. She's not taking no for an answer. I have no choice. I agree. Besides, I don't have anything else going on tomorrow. I save the number and head back to the dorm with Marcus. That night, lying in bed, I use both remaining skill draws without hesitation and get forensic analysis and ventriloquism. The next morning, sure enough, there's another new rule posted in the cafeteria. Students are prohibited from conducting experiments outdoors. The system rewards me with one more skill draw. After breakfast, I call Kyle right away. His voice is warm and enthusiastic. He agrees on a meeting spot without hesitation. Shortly after, I find him at a cafe. The moment he spots me, he jumps up and waves me over. Liam, I've heard so much about you. Professor Lee told me you were coming. I barely slept last night. Don't worry, I've got your back from now on. Kyle waves us both into seats and flags down the server to order 3 coffees. Don't hold back, my treat. By the way, who's this? I smile. He's a friend, he comes with me. Kyle grins and claps my shoulder. Got it. Any friend of yours is a friend of mine. After chatting for a bit, I look at him with full expectation. Kyle, Professor Lee says you work at the Get Rich Quick Institute. I'm really into lab work. Any chance you could take me for a visit? The moment I say institute, something flickers across Kyle's face. A barely visible stiffness. Then he laughs it off. Ha! Of course. The Get Rich Quick Institute loves ambitious young people like you. I'll take you right now. I guarantee you'll be blown away. He hails a cab. The car weaves through turn after turn and pulls into a rundown residential complex. Kyle hops out first, pointing at the stairwell with unmistakable pride. Here we are. But the moment I step out, I freeze. This is nothing like what I pictured for a research institute. Has paleontology funding really gotten this bad? Kyle strolls into the stairwell, still smiling. Come on, it's on the first floor. Let me knock. He walks up to a rust-covered security door and taps on it in a specific rhythm, like a secret knock. A few seconds pass. The door clicks open a crack. A man with a buzz cut peers out. He spots Kyle and immediately plasters on an exaggerated smile. Kyle, you've brought another new friend. He steps aside to let us in. I step inside with a strong sense that something is very wrong. The moment I'm through the door, I see dozens of red plastic chairs arranged in rows. On the wall ahead, a red banner stretches across, printed in bold yellow letters. Welcome, new family member, to the Get Rich Quick family. A dozen or so young people all around Kyle's age are lined up along the side of the room. The moment I walk in, they snap into 2 neat rows. Then a man walks out from the back. Everyone, applause! Welcome our new member to the Get Rich Quick family. A chorus of loud, synchronized voices fills the room. Welcome, warm welcome. I look over at Kyle. He's still grinning. So, good vibe, right? I force a smile and nod. Sure. Thanks, everyone. The man in the suit waves everyone to sit, still grinning. Today we have a new friend with us. Let me share with everyone how to hit your first major financial milestone. Fast, he writes, 5-tier pyramid scheme on the whiteboard. He talks and talks without pause. Everyone's eyes light up with excitement, Kyle included. I'm the only one sitting there with a blank, bewildered stare. This is a pyramid scheme, Den. No question about it. Professor Lee, you snake. You absolute snake. You said this was a self-directed internship. It's a pyramid scheme. The live stream chat erupts. The viewer count keeps climbing. 8th grade dropout in a cheap suit, shiny shoes, silk socks, rolling suitcase, 1 divorce certificate per person. Talk big, drink broth. I sit through the mindless, repetitive sales pitch for a while, barely keeping my eyes open. Sitting here any longer is unbearable. I need a way out. I raise my hand. My stomach's not feeling great. Gotta use the restroom. The suit man smiles and nods, then shoots a look at someone nearby to follow me. I slip into the bathroom, whistling casually while running the tap. When I'm done, I instinctively press the flush button. The water comes out weak and sluggish. A few flushes later, the water level hasn't dropped at all. Instead, large bubbles rise up from the bowl in a strange, unsettling way. A powerful, nauseating stench rises up with them. The stench is so thick it burns your eyes. I nearly choke on every breath. I frown and hit the flush button again and again. This time the toilet just hums and spins dry. The tank is completely empty. The bowl drains to the last drop, but the smell somehow gets worse. I cover my nose and mouth and head for the door. The second it swings open, I see one of the guys who followed me here, a cigarette dangling unlit from his lip. He spots me stepping out and just walks right past me into the bathroom. The door clicks shut behind him. Then, the crisp snap of a lighter. 1 second later, a deep bone-rattling blast erupts from inside. The wooden door buckles outward, warping on its hinges. Cracks split across the center of the panel. A scorching shockwave mixed with an indescribable stench blasts through every crack and keyhole at once. The room full of people daydreaming about easy money all leap to their feet at the sudden explosion. Screams and toppling chairs erupt all at once. Every single person stares in horror at the bathroom door. I'm the closest one. The blast and the stench slam into me and I stagger back. Then the door explodes open from inside. The guy who just went in stumbles out reeling. His clothes are torn. His face and hair are caked in yellowish-brown sludge, still dripping. The cigarette is long gone. All that's left is a blank, hollow stare. His mouth opens like he wants to speak, but only a hollow wheeze comes out. His eyes are wide as plates. I step back fast, grimacing. I peer past the door into the bathroom. A cold shiver runs straight through me. The bathroom is absolutely destroyed. The toilet is just gone. Just a burst pipe and a floor full of shattered porcelain. On the walls, on the ceiling, thick, unspeakable filth slowly oozing downward. The entire room reeks of methane and scorched waste. The suit guy is the first to snap out of it. Leo, what happened? Are you okay? He moves to grab Leo, but one look at what's covering him and he quickly pulls back. He spins toward me. What the hell were you doing in there? I throw my hands up. Nothing. I did nothing. Everyone crowds into gawk. They stare at the bathroom they once knew, now reduced to this revolting mess, and every single one of them is completely dumbstruck. The livestream chat absolutely loses it. The viewer count is spiking like crazy. First explosion of the day, and it's a toilet? Mods, you're seriously not censoring this? You want us to lose our appetite, don't you? Everyone else who walks into a pyramid scheme worries about getting scammed. Liam walks in and the whole operation suffers. Right in the middle of all this chaos, I glance at what's left of the toilet, and the system panel flashes up in front of me. Warning. High danger energy reaction detected. Toilet pipe connects directly to the main septic tank chamber below. The U-bend water seal has been broken by repeated failed flushes. High concentration methane has flooded back up into the enclosed space. Contact with an open flame triggered a localized explosion. The blast has compromised the top structure of the septic tank and its venting pipes. Internal pressure and temperature are rapidly destabilizing. Methane levels continue to surge. Main explosion projected in 30 seconds. Immediate evacuation to 200 meters recommended. My pupils snap to pinpoints. No time to explain. I spin around and look at Marcus, and everyone else standing there like deer in headlights. Run! The septic tank is going to blow. Get as far as you can. I shout and grab Marcus by the arm, shoulder checking two frozen guys out of the way, and sprint for the front door like my life depends on it. Marcus stumbles as I yank him forward, then instinct kicks in and he runs. The room is pure chaos. The farther I get, the stronger the stench from the bathroom grows. The suit guy finally realizes something is very wrong. He bolts first. Leo, still dazed and dripping, just stands there. He's still covered in that filth. Then what about me? The suit guy winces. Just run. And with that, he leads the charge out the door. The moment the last person clears the doorway, a deep muffled roar surges up from underground. The concrete manhole cover on the roadside launches dozens of meters into the air. The septic tank's concrete walls are blown to pieces. A massive wave of thick sewage hurled by the shockwave rains down without mercy, like a massive, grotesque flower blooming across the sky. It crashes down like a filthy storm from above. Over a dozen scooters are flipped by the blast. Every sheet and pillowcase on the clotheslines turns brown. The security guard pokes his head out and gets a face full of sewage sludge. He ducks right back in. Every building in the area is splattered. The suit guy and his crew make it about 10 meters before this sight freezes them in their tracks. The brown rain pours straight down on them. Marcus and I make it to a crooked tree nearby and take cover. Marcus stares wide-eyed. Holy sh... Bro, what did you do? I twitch. If I told you this wasn't me, would you even believe me? Marcus shakes his head. Nope. I feel a vein about to pop. Meanwhile, the livestream has completely exploded. Comments flooding in. Warning, high energy ahead. Non-combatants, please put on your gas masks. This is a biohazard situation. Biggest brown shower in livestream history. I am deceased. Right at that moment, a black sedan and several police cruisers pull up to the complex entrance at the same time. Dean Carter and Professor Lee jump out first, faces tight with worry. Then, a glob of brown sludge drops right onto Dean Carter's forehead. The officers about to step out slam their door shut. Dean Carter slowly raises a trembling hand to touch whatever just hit him. A broken, wretched gag echoes through the entrance. He frantically tries to wipe it off his head, but every swipe just spreads it further. Professor Lee quickly passes him a bottle of water. I clamp both hands over my mouth. I almost burst out laughing. I force it back down, and it physically hurts. Once it looks like the rain has stopped, the officers cautiously step into the compound, but the moment they round the first building, everyone goes dead silent and sucks in a breath. Then Dean Carter looks at the filth-covered pyramid scheme crew, then looks at me standing clean under the tree. The look on his face says he wants to disappear. Professor Lee points at me, hand trembling. Liam, what on earth did you do? Then he closes his eyes and asks quietly, you okay? I scratch my head, step around the mess on the ground, and walk over. Professor Lee, Dean Carter, I genuinely had nothing to do with this. Professor Lee gives me a flat look. Funny, I still don't believe you. I let out a helpless laugh. Their toilet was broken. Methane was backing up through the bowl. Some guy went in there to light a cigarette, and boom. and then the septic tank. Everyone listens to my dead calm explanation. Their faces twitch, one by one. The officers survey the scene completely at a loss. They get on the phone and call for backup. The sanitation department chief rushes over. One look at the scene and his face goes white. He almost collapses. We need to activate the major disaster emergency protocol. Detective Ray arrives with more officers to reinforce the scene. He gives me and the others a quick nod, then moves fast to lock down the area. He starts taking statements from the pyramid scheme crew. They swarm around the officers, wailing and begging. All they want is to get as far from this nightmare as possible. It's only now that Senior Kyle fully processes that he'd walked into an actual pyramid scheme. He wilts into a corner of the crowd, shrinking into himself. Professor Lee steps forward and stops right in front of Kyle. Kyle suddenly bursts into tears. He slaps himself across the face. "Professor Lee, I'm so sorry. I've let you down." He quickly turns to me. "Liam, I swear I never meant to drag you into this. I'm sorry." I wave him off. "It's fine. I didn't lose anything." Professor Lee stares at Kyle's sorry state and presses 2 fingers to his temple. "What am I supposed to do with you? I told you to stay at the university. You wouldn't listen. And now look, you ended up running a pyramid scheme. Don't pull anything like this again." Kyle nods so fast his whole head is a blur. "Got it. Understood." Meanwhile, over there, the sanitation crew has brought in a massive suction truck and a high-pressure wash vehicle. Workers vacuum out every last drop of waste from the septic tank. High-pressure hoses blast every corner of the compound. Dean Carter and I are just about to leave when one of the sanitation workers suddenly waves toward us. "Detective, over here! Something's wrong!" Everyone snaps their head toward where he's pointing. The bottom of the septic tank is split open, cracks spreading in every direction. Then a soft pop. A hole nearly half a meter wide opens up, pitch black, no bottom in sight. Detective Ray's brow furrows hard. He signals everyone to step back immediately. In this eerie silence, the system panel suddenly pops up in my vision. Detected high-intensity geological and historical energy compound fluctuation. Below, large-scale karst cave system. Natural cave expanded by human construction. Structured tomb chamber confirmed. Underground river runs beneath the burial level. Depth, approximately 18 to 22 meters. Tomb structure destabilized by the explosion above. Risk of continuous collapse is high. I take a slow, deep breath. There's a karst cave down there, and an ancient tomb inside it. A perimeter goes up fast. Detective Ray directs the sanitation workers to clear the area around the hole. I walk straight over. "Detective Ray, you need to call the Cultural Relics Bureau right now. There's a cave system down there, and I think there's an ancient tomb inside." The crowd erupts. Everyone pushes forward to peer into the hole. Detective Ray steps up beside me. "How can you tell?" I point to the cross-section of rock along the inner wall. "Look closely, up near the top of the opening. See how the soil layers are clearly distinct in color, mixed with small gravel fragments, like it was deliberately compacted. And below that thick layer of pale gray-white clay, that's tomb sealing clay. Ancient builders used it specifically for burial chambers. Near perfect seal. So the layer above it, that's the rammed earth layer. Tomb sealing clay beneath rammed earth. 9 times out of 10, that's an ancient tomb. And whoever's buried here, no ordinary person. Common folk couldn't afford a burial this elaborate." Detective Ray taps his chin. "Fair enough. But how do you know there's a cave?" Before I can answer, Professor Lee steps in. He points to the rock face. The rock layer below is classic limestone. You can even see the glint of calcite crystals. That's the foundation rock for karst cave formation. Listen carefully. The faint sound of running water. I lean toward the opening. The explosion earlier, combined with years of underground river erosion, collapsed the rammed earth layer and exposed the cave beneath. Professor Lee pats my shoulder. "Liam, your core coursework is solid, but this archaeology knowledge, when exactly did you pick that up?" My expression stiffens. I scratch my head. "Just a hobby." Detective Ray doesn't wait. He's already on the phone calling the City Cultural Relics Bureau and the Geological Survey team. He lays out everything, the situation on the ground, and every detail of my analysis. 20-some minutes later, the Cultural Relics Bureau experts arrive at full speed. The moment they see what's in front of them, the senior expert's eyes light up instantly. Professor King, standing at the center, immediately waves his team into action. "Get the equipment set up, scan what's down there." Within seconds, the crew pulls out a fiber optic probe fitted with a high-powered light and a camera. The rod feeds slowly down through the opening. Everyone crowds around the monitor connected to the probe. At first, just falling dirt and rocks. Then about 10 meters down, the probe breaks into a vast underground chamber. The camera reveals a massive, cavernous hollow stretching into darkness. And then, every single person holds their breath. There on the screen, a coffin, suspended in midair inside the cave, held by 9 rusted iron chains, each one anchored to a carved stone dragon. Professor King's fist clenches. The 9-dragon coffin. The entire group is frozen. Eyes wide, mouths open. Nobody expected to stumble upon a legendary 9-dragon coffin. The cave is too vast. The camera can only cover so much. After a quick discussion between the relics and geology experts, they decide to go down themselves. Professor Lee isn't an archaeologist by specialty, but his knowledge is rock solid. He's invited to join. As the one who found it, and as his student, I'm going down too. It's deep. Everyone gears up with full protective equipment. A crane lowers us down one by one, steady and controlled. The geology experts descend first. Professor Lee and I follow right behind. Marcus doesn't come down. Instead, he rigs the camera onto me. The deeper we go, the colder and damper the air becomes. A few minutes later, I finally touch solid ground. I steady myself and sweep my headlamp across the space. The underground river beside me is still flowing, its water glowing with a faint, ghostly blue light. And then, a sharp cry rings out. "Look over there!" Everyone spins in that direction. On the left wall of the cave, a cluster of enormous skull patterns stares back at us. 7, maybe 8 of them. The most unsettling part? No matter where you stand, Some skull's eye socket seems to be locked directly onto you. Professor King pushes down his unease and steps close to the wall, tapping it gently. Not carved. No chisel marks at all, more like mineral deposits settling naturally along the rock fissures. This is beyond strange. Everyone's headlamps converge on the skull wall. Every detail is sharp and clear in the beams. Before long, a young team member sways on his feet. That's weird. I feel dizzy. Another presses his temples. Same. I keep staring at these skulls. I swear they're moving. The moment he says it, half the group nods in agreement. A wave of dizziness and nausea washes over me too. The moment I look away, it starts to ease. I grab Professor Lee and the others. Don't stare at them. Everyone look away. But the strangeness isn't over. While everyone is still on edge, a low, hollow murmuring suddenly echoes through the cave. The sound comes from everywhere at once. The team breaks. Headlamp beams scatter wildly in every direction. But there's nothing. No source. Then a piercing scream. A team member points at the underground river. There's something above the water. Everyone looks, and the light above the river is twisting, warping in unnatural ways. Blurry shadows materialize out of nowhere, writhing. And at the same moment, on a smooth stretch of wall nearby, several sharper, more distinct, ghostly figures suddenly appear. The young team member screams, "Spirit soldiers! They're crawling out of the river!" What's unfolding is beyond anything any of them can process. The senior professors step in quickly to calm the group. People barely manage to hold it together. Then the next thing hits without warning. Drops of red fall from above. A faint metallic smell drifts through the air. Someone shouts, "The walls are bleeding!" The group immediately falls apart. The young team member bolts for the lift. "Professor, this is the 9-dragon coffin. This place is cursed. Let's go! Now!" The scene collapses into chaos. I hold out my hand and catch a few drops. I bring them close and look carefully. My pupils snap tight. Right then, Professor Lee's voice calls from behind me. "Liam, get back here. That area is dangerous." I don't turn around. I rub the red liquid between my fingers. "Professor Lee, look. It's red, yes, but it doesn't have blood's thickness or that metallic smell." I raise my headlamp and aim it at the cracks in the seeping wall. My guess, this rock contains iron compounds. When we entered, we raised the temperature in here. The moisture inside the rock expanded from the heat and got forced outward through the cracks. That water dissolved the iron in the rock, and the moment it hits oxygen, it oxidizes into red rust. This isn't the rock bleeding. It's just basic chemistry. Professor King steps forward. "I'll give you that one. The red drops, I agree. But what about the other things? Like that whispering we heard?" I smile. I raise my hand to quiet everyone. "This one's not complicated either. Everyone, absolute silence. Stay exactly where you are. Don't make a sound, don't move." They trust me after the blood rain explanation, and they comply. Within seconds, the ancient murmuring fades until it's nearly gone. The figures on the wall stop moving too. I walk quickly to a smooth jade-green rock formation nearby. There's a natural stalagmite here. Its tip is just touching the wall. I reach up and tap it lightly. A soft ring echoes out, and the murmuring surges back, briefly sharp and clear. A smile pulls at my lips. Now do you get it? What we heard, those ghost voices, is actually a natural piezoelectric playback device. Inside this wall, there are massive amounts of microscopic piezoelectric crystals, quartz and the like. Hundreds, maybe thousands of years ago, a massive earthquake or a lightning strike hitting the rock layer. The force was so immense, it captured the human sounds from that time. Through crystal charge polarization, those sounds were encoded into the rock itself. Same basic principle as an old-school record player. I point to the stalagmite beside me. This stalagmite, pressing against the wall, it's the natural needle of the record player. The sound waves we created travel through the air and the ground into the stalagmite. The stalagmite transfers that vibration into the wall, which compresses the piezoelectric crystals inside, generating a tiny electrical current that plays back the sounds recorded all those centuries ago. I spread my hands. It's just that the recording is ancient, so the playback is muffled and distorted, like a tape running out of power. That's why it sounds so eerie at first. This explanation turns what felt like a horror scene into a live science lesson. Even Professor Lee is staring at me, genuinely stunned. The Cultural Relics Bureau experts look at me differently now. Professor King rubs his still aching temples. "What about the ghost shadows?" I give a calm smile. "Professor King, did you notice? The moment we all went still, not only did the sound stop, the shadows stopped moving too." Professor King nods slowly. "That's true. I figured it had something to do with us. I just couldn't figure out exactly how." I point at the shadows on the wall. "Actually, it's straightforward." I pause, then look at Professor Lee. "Professor Lee, slowly raise your right hand." Professor Lee nods and does exactly that, lifting his arm slowly. 2-3 seconds pass, and one of the ghost arms on the wall lifts in the same eerie delayed motion. I smile and point at the glowing river. Those shadows are us, our own reflections. The bioluminescent microorganisms in the river act as a natural glowing screen. The rippling water surface works like hundreds of funhouse mirrors, warping and magnifying the light. I turn and point toward the glittering formations on the cave ceiling. And these mirror-like calcite crystals up on the roof. They take those distorted reflections and beam them precisely onto the walls. The final projection hits the rock face, and you get these shifting, twisting ghost figures. Everyone stares at me with pure wonder. Every bit of fear has transformed into fascination. I glance back at the skull patterns. As for those skulls, they're made up of high-density concentric circles and spirals. If you stare at them too long, your visual system gets tricked into thinking you're moving, but your inner ear is telling your body you're perfectly still. That sensory mismatch is what triggers the dizziness and nausea. Same as motion sickness on a boat. Now that you've stopped looking, you should all be fine, right? Everyone nods. The dizziness is gone, every mystery solved, and now all eyes turn to the coffin hanging in midair. It hangs high above, Climbing the chains is far too dangerous. After a quick emergency discussion, the experts decide to use the thick stalagmites and rock outcroppings above to build a web-like suspended work platform. Aluminum alloy panels are laid at key points for stable footing and equipment placement. The platform is assembled quickly. Professor King and the team ascend to the platform and get their first close look at the coffin and the chains. 2 hours later, the coffin lid is finally opened. Inside, the outline of a human form, covered in ritual face symbols. Professor King fights to contain his excitement and signals the camera operator to document everything from every angle. Then he picks up a soft brush and bamboo pick and begins clearing the remains with painstaking care. As the work nears completion, Professor King lets out a long sigh. The coffin only has so much space. Beyond these burial objects, there's nothing else of significant value. This simply doesn't match the scale of the 9-dragon coffin setup. While everyone murmurs in disappointment, I tilt my head back and look up toward the ceiling of the cave. Without warning, the system panel flashes up. Detected. Special historical artifact. The Imperial Seal. At the apex of the cave ceiling, where the 9 iron chains converge, this is the Dragon-Eye Feng Shui node. The last emperor of later Tang Li Kongke perished in fire at the Xuanwu Tower in Luoyang. Before that moment, the Imperial Seal was secretly swapped by the royal advisor, carrying the real Imperial Seal. Guided by ancient techniques, the advisor found this place, the Qianlong Yuan Cave. Using the cave's naturally powerful yin energy lines and dragon-shaped stalactites, the advisor carved and constructed the 9-dragon heavenlock formation, drawing in the dragon energy of the entire cave system and the surrounding mountains, to keep the seal's heavenly mandate intact and undimmed, waiting for the day it would emerge again and restore the true dynasty's legitimacy. My pupils narrow to a point. The Imperial Seal. This is the object that symbolizes the mandate of heaven itself. Every time it surfaced in history, it unleashed rivers of blood. I take several slow, deep breaths to steady the storm inside me. Professor Lee notices something is off and reaches over to pat my shoulder. Liam, you alright? Is the air down here getting to you? Go up and rest if you need to. I shake my head. I raise my hand and point straight up. Professor Lee, we've all been looking in the wrong place. The coffin is a decoy. The real secret is up there. Everyone looks up into the darkness, swallowing the cave ceiling. Professor Lee leans in closer. Liam, what did you find? I organize the clues the system has given me. In Feng Shui, there's a principle called the true dragon's return. These 9 iron chains aren't just holding up the coffin. In the formation's design, they're channels, conducting and directing dragon energy. The point where all the chains converge at the top, that's the true power center of this entire formation. The dragon energy is most concentrated there, and most pure. If the coffin represents the human position, the cave itself is the earth position. Then the apex where the chains meet is the heaven position. A formation as grand as the 9-dragon coffin. If it were only for burial, placing everything at the human position would be enough. That alone would be extraordinary. But what if the purpose wasn't just burial? What if it was to nourish and protect a treasure worthy of heaven's dragon power? That treasure must be placed at the heaven position, to be nourished by the dragon energy flowing from all 9 chains, its supreme status made manifest. The coffin below is almost certainly a decoy. This is the classic tactic. Build a road in the open and smuggle through in secret. The highest level technique in Feng Shui, the burial of heaven. The place erupts. Professor King's eyes get brighter with every word. His breathing quickens. That makes sense. It makes perfect sense. Scan the ceiling. The convergence point immediately. Use everything we've got. The crew springs into action. High-powered beams focus upward. A small drone buzzes up into the dark. As the camera zooms in and sweeps across, a stone platform gradually takes shape on the monitor, flanked by natural dragon-shaped stalactites. The marks of deliberate human craftsmanship are unmistakable. When the camera finally locks onto the center of the platform, a jade seal, rich and luminous, suddenly fills the screen. What makes every heart stop? One corner of the seal bears a clear gold repair. On the suspended platform, a wave of unified breathless gasps breaks out. Professor King's eyes go wide. His mouth falls open. No words come. Professor Lee's body lurches forward involuntarily. The other expert's eyes redden. Good lord, this shape, this jade quality, and that gold corner, is this the Imperial Seal? Professor King rasps the order. Zoom in. At the face of the seal. The operator instantly adjusts the drone's angle and focus. On the screen, unmistakably clear, 8 ancient characters, ordained by heaven, may the dynasty prosper eternal. Professor Lee stares at the screen, unblinking. It matches. Every single feature. It all matches. We haven't done the final authentication yet, but every piece of evidence points to one conclusion. This is almost certainly the Imperial Seal. Lost to history for over 1,000 years. Professor King's fist tightens. Find a way, get it down safely and run the final authentication. Nothing can go wrong. Nothing. The experts rapidly analyze the ceiling structure, the load distribution of the chains, and how the platform connects to the rock. The decision: extract the stone platform holding the seal, along with its connected core rock, by cutting it free from the ceiling and lowering the whole thing, to minimize any disruption to the structure and prevent a chain reaction. The moment the plan is locked, execution begins. Everyone below is layered in protective positions, 3 rows deep. Nobody is taking even the slightest chance. The cutting process is agonizingly slow. It takes nearly a full hour. When the final connection is severed, the stone platform, with the seal, is held firm by specialized rigging. It descends slowly, inch by inch, from the ceiling. And finally it settles into the shock-absorbing artifact case on the suspended platform. The entire group exhales at once. And then, the held-back emotion erupts. Cheers flood the cave. Professor King pulls on white gloves, hands trembling as he lifts the seal from the platform with reverence. He sets it gently onto a padded examination table. Brilliant light focuses down from above. Multiple high-definition cameras lock on from every angle. The professors take up magnifying glasses, spectrometers, and other instruments, and begin the preliminary authentication. Results come back, point by point, confirming everything. Professor King looks up and scans the faces around him, all flushed with emotion. Then he looks at me. Based on the form, the jade, the craftsmanship, the inscription, and this completely unique gold-inlaid jade corner, we're prepared to say, preliminarily, this seal, with overwhelming probability, is the imperial seal of the Qin dynasty, lost to the world for over 1,000 years. Liam, the credit belongs to you above all. The room detonates. The imperial seal has returned to the world. This will be written into history. Everyone here today will be part of that record. I quietly end the live stream. Right at that moment, Professor King receives a call. It's Director Zhou from the Palace Museum in Beijing. King, it's Zhou Dingwen. We watched the entire live stream. On behalf of the Palace Museum, I am ordering you, initiate the highest level cultural artifact protection protocol immediately. Our experts and elite security detail have already departed by charter flight. Until I arrive and take over, you keep the seal personally. It does not leave your sight. Lock down all data. Security at the scene transfers to us. This is an order. Professor King nods firmly. Understood. He places the seal into a specially designed storage case and holds it tight against his chest. The group begins an orderly withdrawal. The lift equipment starts up slow and steady. When I reach the surface, the sight stops me cold. The septic tank pit has been sealed over. Armed tactical officers are stationed on every side, layer upon layer of security. Commissioner Chen walks over with a smile. Liam, we meet again. I scratch my head. Commissioner Chen, good to see you. He greets Professor King, Professor Lee, and the others one by one. The route and security are all set. I'll personally escort you to the City Cultural Relics Bureau. Professor King gives a grateful nod. Thank you. Commissioner Chen surveys the group, then snaps his hand down. Move out. 3 black tactical armored vehicles lead the convoy. At the center, a custom heavy-duty armored transport vehicle. We're escorted by close protection agents and board quickly. The seal case is locked firmly onto the shock-absorbing platform inside the vehicle. On all 4 sides of the transport, 4 assault vehicles packed with tactical officers hold tight formation. Officers grip their weapons, eyes scanning every direction. The outer ring is a wall of police cruisers and military troop carriers. Above, 2 police helicopters and 1 military gunship fly in formation overhead. Commissioner Chen's voice comes over the radio from the command vehicle. All units, attention. The Imperial Seal convoy is moving. Full route control as planned. The order goes out, and the entire city of Westport seems to hold its breath for this convoy. Every road along the route is emptied. Intersections big and small are sealed by police and soldiers. Snipers are positioned on rooftops along the way. I sit in the vehicle and take all of it in. Before long, the convoy rolls to a smooth stop in front of the Cultural Relics Bureau. The building is already locked down tight. Professor King carries the seal case himself and strides into the authentication lab. With everyone watching, he lifts the seal from its case and places it on a table draped in black velvet. Test results come back one after another, all consistent with the preliminary findings. Then the final carbon-14 dating report arrives, confirming the artifact spans more than 2,000 years. The lab erupts in celebration. Professor King's eyes fill with tears. With all test data now compiled, we can state with full responsibility, this seal was commissioned by the first emperor of Qin, with inscriptions by Li Si, the imperial seal symbol of the legitimate succession of China's dynasties. He finishes and turns to face me. Kid, thank you. If it weren't for you, who knows how much longer the imperial seal would have stayed buried. On behalf of every historian and cultural scholar, thank you. And with that, he gives me a deep, formal bow. I rush to stop him. Professor King, that's way too much. It was nothing. Professor King waves that off. Nothing? This is far from nothing. You are a once-in-a-generation find for our field. Too bad you're already under Professor Lee. Otherwise, I'd pull you over to the Cultural Relics Bureau myself. Professor Lee gives 2 pointed coughs and shoots Professor King a look. King, you talk too much. Professor King's expression freezes, then an awkward laugh. Just saying, don't take it to heart. Right then, 2 black sedans pull up to the entrance of the bureau at the same time. Director Zhou from the Palace Museum and Director Lee from the National Museum push their doors open and step out, one after the other. Their eyes meet for a brief moment, and without a word, both charge straight into the building. They squeeze through the lab antechamber nearly simultaneously, both still catching their breath. But the moment their eyes land on the seal, both men go completely still. Director Zhou steps forward first, pushing his slipping glasses back up his nose. It's real. Every detail matches the historical records, down to the last mark. Director Lee draws a slow breath and steps up. Ordained by heaven, may the dynasty prosper eternal. This is the true national treasure. A few seconds pass, then both men snap back to reality. Their eyes lock, and the spark ignites immediately. Director Lee goes first. Zhou, the imperial seal is the symbol of China's rightful heritage. It belongs in the National Museum, where the whole world can see our roots and our soul. That is where it belongs. Director Zhou fires back immediately. Research and preservation of imperial seals. Who does it better than the Palace Museum? The Forbidden City is the very symbol of imperial power. The seal returning to the palace is a leaf returning to its root. For the next stretch of time, the two go at each other, faces flushing red, completely oblivious to everyone around them. The experts inside the lab exchange helpless glances. Professor King tries to cut in several times. Each time they both glare him down, with no end in sight, Director Joe turns to Professor King. King, you found it. Say something fair. We've known each other for years. The palace is the right call, isn't it? Director Lee follows his gaze. King, I respect you. Don't let friendship cloud your judgment. The seal belongs in the National Museum. You know that. Both men stare at Professor King, waiting. Then Professor King surprises everyone and points at me. The seal was found by Liam. The tomb being discovered today has everything to do with him. Everyone here knows that. Director Joe frowns first. King, all our years together and you're hiding behind a kid? That's not like you. Director Lee nods along. If you don't want to choose, just say so. No need for this. Professor King waves his hand in defeat. I'm serious. Ask anyone else. They'll tell you. Both directors turn to the room. Everyone nods to confirm. The skepticism slowly fades from their faces. Director Joe clicks his tongue. Impressive kid. After you graduate, how about coming to the Palace Museum? I'll find you something good. Director Lee jumps in immediately. Hey, handsome. Are you seeing anyone? My granddaughter is about your age. She's good looking. Let me introduce you to. Director Joe gives 2 deliberate coughs. Kid, his granddaughter is a force of nature. You won't be able to handle her. Come to the palace. You'll thank me. Director Lee's eyes go wide with fury. You shameless old man. You really just did that? Director Joe snorts. Like you're any better. Dragging your own granddaughter into a negotiation over an imperial seal. You've got the nerve of a city wall. Did you even ask her? And just like that, they're at it again, the entire room ceasing to exist for them. I stand there, completely lost. Professor Lee taps my shoulder. You're on your own, kid. I give him a look. I step forward. Gentlemen, can I say something? Both men stop cold. They turn to me at the same time. I clear my throat. One of you represents the Palace Museum, the other the National Museum. Normally, a treasure like this would go to one of you. But the Imperial Seal isn't just any artifact, it's the national treasure, putting it on display alongside other relics. To me, that feels like a disservice. It deserves its own dedicated high-standard museum. Even if the entire museum holds only this one seal, that's enough. Both directors raise an eyebrow, then both nod. Agreement. I push forward while I have the momentum. The way I see it, it was found right here in Westport City. Build the Imperial Seal Museum right here. Both of you serve as CO directors. How does that sound? The moment those words land, Professor King and the others light up. Director Joe and Director Lee exchange a glance, and both break into looks of genuine approval. Director Joe takes a breath. A dedicated museum in Westport City, I'm in. But the construction costs, those come from the Palace Museum. Director Lee immediately protests. Why should you cover everything? The National Museum is funding it, and we handle all ongoing maintenance. You shameless old man, you old miser. Just like that, they're 2 lit powder kegs again. 10 minutes later, both men finally run out of steam, and the room settles into serious discussion about the museum plan. The 2 directors station themselves beside the seal, ready to stay up all night studying it. This part of things, it's out of my hands now. I'm just a student. None of this is my call to make. I can't contribute anything here. And honestly, I'm afraid to. Knowing my luck, I'd dig around and unearth something else entirely. That would be something. With Professor King and the others seeing us off, Professor Lee and I leave the Cultural Relics Bureau. We get back to campus, and I say goodbye to Professor Lee. I head back to the dorm. After a full day of all that, I'm asleep the second I hit the bed. I even forget to do the system lucky draw. The next morning, I wake up groggy to the sound of my roommates making a racket. I sit up and look over. One of them is holding a bug net. Another has a fly swatter raised. All of them look like they're bracing for war. What are you guys doing trying to catch flies? Jason gives me a pained look. Liam, they're not flies. They're hornets. Remember when you cracked the ceiling? When the workers came to fix it yesterday, they found a massive hornet nest in the rooftop waterproofing layer. The workers got badly stung. Now half the dorms in the building are dealing with it. I hear that and immediately get up and get ready. I follow them up to the roof. From a distance, I can already spot the massive nest hanging inside the gap between panels. The rooftop access is normally locked off. No wonder nobody found it. I watch the hornets buzzing all around and take the net from Jason. Then I creep toward the nest, step by careful step. A few hornets dart straight at me. I swat every single one flat with my bare hand. Marcus and Jason stare, jaws dropped. I walk right up to the nest, crouch down, and drop the net over it in one move. One smooth pull, tie it off, done. Marcus immediately loses it. No way. Bro, how are you even real? I wave him off. Easy. I grab a stick from nearby and tie it to the net. I hold the whole thing up and give it a wave. Behold, the supreme artifact, the soul banner. Marcus and Jason's mouths drop open. I glance at them. Can't you feel it? That subtle aura of dominance radiating off it? Both shake their heads. Nope. I immediately push it toward them. Really? Come closer then. Marcus scrambles backward. I feel it. I feel it. It's intense. Jason nods vigorously. Same. Very intense. I laugh and lean on the stick. That's more like it. Marcus looks at me with confusion, wondering where I was headed. Hearing this, I shake the soul banner, delivering this to Professor Lee. He's the one who introduced me to that guy Kyle, and Kyle got me pulled into that pyramid scheme. This nest is a generous gift. The least I can do is share it with him. Jason's face twitches, but he eagerly trots right along behind me anyway. Clearly here for the show. Halfway there, the system chimes. One more lucky draw added. As we walk, I catch a few students nearby talking. You hear about that upperclassman who went off to intern on his own and got sucked into a pyramid scheme? I know. Dean Carter had to pull strings to get him out. I clear my throat and wander over. Hey, any chance that upperclassman was actually set up by his professor? They turn around and immediately spot the soul banner in my hand. They scream. Oh my, hornets, run! Marcus stands there in disbelief. So that's why it's the supreme artifact? The aura alone clears the field. I lead them straight to Professor Lee's office. The image of Professor Lee's face when this goes off, I'm already grinning on the inside. But when we get to the door, it's locked. I pull out my phone and call him. It rings for over a minute. No answer. I went through all this trouble to bring him such a thoughtful gift, and he's not even here. I sigh. Professor Lee just isn't destined to receive this blessing. Guess it goes to Dean Carter instead. Jason freezes, then starts backing away fast. No, Liam, are you out of your mind? You go. I'm staying here. I am not getting mixed up in this. You're the department's golden boy. Nothing sticks to you. I don't have that kind of protection. And with that, he bolts. I scoff and walk straight toward Dean Carter's office with the soul banner in hand. It's the weekend. Nobody else around. Marcus and I walk straight into the admin building without running into a soul. I peek through the office doorway. Dean Carter, you in? He looks up and adjusts his glasses. Liam, come in. I walk straight in and give the net a little shake. Dean Carter, I found a hazardous object on the roof. I've got it contained and brought it to you. Dean Carter hears hazardous object and immediately looks impressed. Good. Excellent safety awareness. That kind of initiative is worth commending. He reaches out and takes the net. What is it exactly? I take 2 steps back. The soul banner. Dean Carter looks inside and his hand jerks. He flings the whole thing away. What the? Thwap. The net hits the wall. The knot, already loose, blows open from the impact. A dark cloud of hornets explodes outward. I run. Dean Carter's eyes go wide. Then his trembling finger points at someone in the corner, Wendy. His fury is about to boil over. He's the dean of this entire university, and there's a student hiding in his own office, who apparently only wanted to talk to another student and not to him. Anyone would be furious and baffled. I freeze where I stand. I did not see myself getting pulled into this one. How is this even connected to me? Dean Carter forces himself to hold it together and orders me to get the full story, fast. If anything is unclear, or dodged, he's giving me, Wendy, and Marcus all a formal disciplinary mark. He storms off down the hall, back turned, not looking back. I walk over to Wendy, who's still sniffling. She steals a careful glance at Dean Carter's retreating figure, then drops her voice low and walks me through the whole thing. That morning, she ran into a middle-aged man on the sports field. He started by asking about the campus exits and foot traffic, then suddenly flashed a badge. She caught the words national level, secret agent. He claimed to be from the National Security Agency, tracking a foreign cell connected to the recent campus attack. His cover was blown. He said his presence was too conspicuous. He needed her to cover for him. Then he showed her a covertly taken photo of Dean Carter and told her that her phone had already been tapped and that something bad would happen if she didn't cooperate. Wendy thought about everything that's been happening on campus lately, and in a moment of fear, she believed him. She slipped into Dean Carter's office while it was empty and hid until the hornets and the noise from us gave her away. The moment I hear it, it's obvious. This girl got played completely. A real intelligence operative would never recruit an inexperienced student for cover. This is a con, a pressure scam, start to finish. I give her arm a reassuring pat. Don't worry, what matters right now is telling Dean Carter everything clearly and finding this guy before more people fall for it. Dean Carter can't hold out. He turns around and comes back. As I lay out the whole story, his expression darkens with every word. He leads us straight to the security center. The moment the footage pulls up, everyone in the room takes a sharp breath. This fake agent has shown up on campus more than 10 times, always targeting girls walking alone, always staying in the camera blind spots or wearing glasses and a hat to hide his face, leaving only a blurry profile on camera. But his performance was convincing enough to make every one of them believe. The dean of students rushes a team to the women's dormitories. Half an hour later, a call comes in. A few of the girls, too frightened, had broken away before anything happened, but some weren't so lucky. The con man used the story of an injured comrade who needed to be moved, lured them off campus, kept them late into the night, and manipulated them into checking into a hotel. He escalated the fake crisis until he cornered them into going along with it, violating them, and stealing their money. They came back and said nothing, too scared and too ashamed. Dean Carter stands there, trembling. He orders the information locked down immediately. All follow-up is to be handled carefully and quietly. The dean of students acknowledges and hangs up. The hallway fills with nothing but the heavy sound of Dean Carter's footsteps and the weight of our silence. Not long after, 2 new rules appear on the campus board. Do not act on requests from outside personnel without verification. Do not conceal any suspicious activity on campus. At that same moment, the system panel pops up in my head. 2 lucky draws awarded. I spin immediately. The next second, rapid face recognition is added to my skill set. A smile tugs at the corner of my mouth. The con man got away. For now. But this skill is exactly what it takes to help the police pin him down. Westport University's peace shattered again. And behind this seemingly ridiculous scam, there are probably secrets buried even deeper, still waiting to be found. Looks like my streak of walking straight into chaos is far from over.